This ESPN2 telecast is available on ESPN2 and in sparkling high definition on ESPN2 HD, presented by Olivia.
Omaha, Nebraska, the College World Series Finals. There are countless cliches describing the spot the Tar Heels find themselves in, but we'll spare you most of that for now. The fact remains it's win or go home. For Oregon State, they look to complete a run unmatched in a decade, earning the title of back-to-back national champion.
I'm a champion. If I can't win it, then it can't be won. I focus on the game till I made it, son. So how you like me now? I said it, I meant it, I did it, baby. Everybody gonna remember your name in the day when you go, like go low, and keep going, pushing on, and then how they gonna remember your style, who you were, what you did you live without fear when it's done? Will you be smiling? Will you be smiling?
It's the College World Series Finals, Game 2, now.
Champions last year and perhaps again. Oregon State made the familiar ride to Rosenblatt today, loose as usual, knowing they were one win away from the improbability of repeating as national champions. But if North Carolina wants inspiration, they need only to look to last year when the shoe was on the other foot and the Beavers rallied past the Tar Heels in 3 games. The crowd in Omaha is ready. Will a champion be crowned tonight at the old ballpark, or will there be a final showdown tomorrow night? The excitement we've seen all week is reaching a new level. Welcome to the NCAA College World Series, presented on ESPN by Dick's Sporting Goods. Tonight, Game 2 of the finals. If Oregon State wins, they're champs once again. If North Carolina wins, we'll see you tomorrow night. Yesterday in Game 1, Jordan Leonardton got the Beaver offense rolling with this home run. They would score 11 times, and Jorge Reyes didn't even need that much help. He was dominant in winning his 2nd game of this College World Series. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick, along with 2 men who have won the World Series at the major league level, Barry Larkin and Oral Hershiser. It's great to have you with us. Oral, Oregon State has been so good. They haven't trailed since the Charlottesville Regional way back in the middle of the NCAA.
And at the center of that Oregon State team is Mitch Canham, their catcher. He is embedded in the fabric of this Beaver Nation. He leads with his bat. It's the power. His leadership with the pitching staff, it's always evident, and his personality, an everyday guy right there. And tonight he's going to be leading Mike Stutz on the mound, who got roughed up last year in Game 2 against Carolina and really needs to respond to that outing. Beat Arizona State, but was not on his best game. We'll see how he responds tonight.
So far, when North Carolina has played poorly, Barry, it's been fundamentals. It's killed it.
Yeah, they've really struggled this year. Or this series, they've really struggled with the bunt defense. They threw a couple balls away yesterday. Situational hitting. They've really struggled, offensively. But the good news is this: they have been in this situation before. They know how to play in this particular situation. And the guy that they're going on the mound tonight for them, Luke Buchanan, is the guy that last time he pitched with his back against the wall went 7 innings with one hit and 7 strikeouts. So he knows how to get it done. And they have a healthy and arrested closer, dominant closer, in Andrew Kerrigan at the end of the game, ready to go.
First pitch is coming right up. It's do or die for North Carolina. For Oregon State, the title of a repeat champion is only 1 game away.
Everybody gonna remember your name in the day when you go, like go low, and keep going, pushing on, and then how they gonna remember your style, who you were, what you did you live without fear when it's done? Will you be smiling? Will you be smiling?
A College World Series presented on ESPN by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And in part by Citi. Let's get it done. And the Home Depot. Share your inspiring story at homedepot.com/true stories.
Glad you could join us for the College World Series. Let's check in with Kyle Peterson. Kyle.
Thank you, Mike. Talk with Mike Fox, head man for this Carolina ball club before the game. And he said the important thing for us today is to score first. He said we have not put the pressure on Oregon State. In fact, no one has this entire tournament, as they have not trailed. So that's the most important thing. The one thing to watch for them is to see if they're more aggressive on the base pass, either stealing, hit and running, sacrifice bunting, which this Carolina team does not do very often. But they will try to score first, try to put a little bit of pressure on that Oregon State team. For more on that Oregon State team, let's go across the diamond to Aaron Andrews.
Thank you, Kyle. This Beaver team, they're very laid back, yet not as loose as they were yesterday. And I had a chance to speak with one of their leaders, Mitch Canham, about that. He said it's definitely a different mood in here. They feel like they're on the verge of something special happening as it gets closer and closer. And his good friend and teammate Darwin Barney added, anticipation has settled in. But he also admitted to me, as he's a chatty Cathy, he said, look, we're really going to have to mess this thing up not to win our second straight title. Mike?
Great personality, isn't he? Here's the Oregon State. As you look at Mitch Canham, here is the Oregon State Beavers lineup. Chris Hopkins, the center fielder, will lead it off. Joey Wong bats second and plays second base. Hot-hitting DH Mike Listman in the 3-hole. The cleanup man is the catcher, Mitch Canham. Darwin Barney, the outspoken shortstop, hits in the 5-hole. The left fielder, John Wallace, bats after him. Scott Sanchi will play right field. Jordan Leonardton with a lot of power is the first baseman, and batting ninth and playing third base, Lonnie Leckelt. And they will face Luke Pekonen, who's already had one terrific outing here at the College World Series, an overall 8-1 for the season.
Well, he got roughed up in the regionals a little bit, but responded very well in his first start here with their backs against the wall. An elimination game where North Carolina is 4-0, but they face one more with him on the hill here today.
North Carolina, as you heard from Kyle Peterson, is on record as saying they need to get the lead. The problem is Oregon State gets to bat first, and they have been so good at jumping on top of everybody. Fastball outside, and you see the shadows will be an immediate problem for the hitters. Chris Hopkins stands in. And 2-1.
Well, a lot of the games we've had some overcast skies to begin the games. Today, bright sunshine, a big contrast in the sun and the shadows.
Foul tapped behind the plate, 2-2. Hopkins is a typical leadoff guy, their best base stealer, a kid with a lot of speed, slap hitter. He's hit .353 in the World Series here, 6 for 17. Chop toward third, Flack charges and just got it. Nice play by Chad Flack at third. Needed to charge it, field it cleanly, and get off a good throw, and he did. Reed Frank, Seth Williams, and Tim Federoff in the outfield. From left to right on the infield, Flack, Horton, Gore, and Ackley. FEDEROWICZ is behind the plate.
Chad Flack made a nice job coming in there. I think yesterday's game started off kind of with the same type of hit. It was more towards third base line. Maybe a reversal of fortune today.
Joey Wong stands in. Boy, he's had a great series and a great postseason. Since the playoffs started, he's hit .372, but he's hitting .467 here. That won't add to his total as he hits it right at center fielder Seth Williams, and 2 quickly gone here for the Beavers in the first. Listman will come up against Pekonen, who went 7 innings in his first College World Series outing, gave up only 1 run on 3 hits, struck out 7 and walked only 1, so he was dominant. And they're going to need the same kind of performance out of him today against an Oregon State team that has yet to lose here in Omaha.
He gave up a home run to Logan Johnson in the first inning against Louisville, but after that responded with 6 zeros. So young man could settle in even quicker here today.
Boy, Louisville came in here and just rocked one pitch after another. What a great hitting club. which makes Pekonen's 7 innings with 1 run even more impressive. That fastball a little high.
2-1.
Pat Casey trying to do what would have been unthinkable at the beginning of the year, and that's repeat as national champions. And really, they struggled down the stretch, went 10-14 in the Pac-10. Line drive to center, and a good job by Seth Williams. Got a good break on the ball and ran it down in right center. 3 up, 3 down. Great start for Carolina. They'll come to bat in the bottom of the first. First inning, North Carolina, the only seeded team left. Oregon State came in unseeded here. Reed Frank will lead it off for the Tar Heels. He plays left field. Josh Horton is the shortstop. Dustin Ackley will bat third and play first base, the freshman All-American. Tim FEDEROWICZ will catch and bat cleanup. Tim Fedorov, as they move the lineup around trying to get some more situational hitting, is 5th. Seth Williams in center field bats 6th. Kyle Seager, the DH, is 7th. Chad Flack, the third baseman, bats 8th. And batting 9th and playing second base is Garrett Gore. Michael Stutz is out to go for Oregon State. 11-4, an ERA just over 4.
Well, Stutzy, he had a decent outing against Arizona State. Really was overthrowing and was flat up. He needs to stay within himself, drive the ball downhill. And notice the rotation on the curveball today, especially when the shadows get away. He's got very good rotation, plus rotation on that curveball.
Gave up 4 runs in 6 innings in his College World Series outing. Reed Frank to lead it off, and he starts him off with a fastball for a called strike. Frank out of Charlotte, North Carolina, leading home run hitter, second leading RBI man, and he's leading off. Some teams like to do this. Get a guy up there who can be a game changer right away.
1-1.
And of course, you put him first, he's going to get as many at-bats as you can possibly find a way to get him up there. Yeah, only hitting .250 in the College World Series. And he'll draw a walk to start the ball game. Here's the way this really good defense will line up for Oregon State. Wallace, Hopkins, and Sanchi around the outfield. The infielders, Leckel, Barney, Wong, and Leonardson. Barney and Wong, a sensational combination. Canham, a terrific catcher behind the plate, and Stutz on the hill.
Well, Mike, I think Coach Casey is talking to the home plate umpire about that hit by pitch right there. We've seen this the entire tournament. You see Reed Frank not really making an opportunity to get out of the way, and that pitch is not that far out of the strike zone. And I think that's Pat Casey's contention that, you know, he's got to move out the way, and that pitch wasn't far off the plate at all.
Yeah, Reed Frank, his feet, look at his back foot, almost on the line. Watch the elbow, it's actually over the corner of the plate. That is almost a strike. It's probably called a ball high, but the ball is actually on the plate.
The rule says if a batter is intentionally hit by moving or rolling any part of his body into the pitch, the batter shall not be awarded first base. It also says, another rule, if the ball is in the strike zone, it's a called strike and not a hit batter. And this will be addressed in the offseason by the Rules Committee about how to improve this, and this is why. 50 hit batters, and it shatters the previous record of 36, which was only set 4 years ago.
Well,
it's just bad for the game.
Yeah, it is. Talking to Coach Fox, they were going to do whatever they can today to try to make things happen.
To the gap in left center, and that's going to fall off the bat of Josh Horton. So they move Horton into the second slot in the batting order, and he delivers with a single left center.
Well, like we said, as I was saying, that we talked to Coach Fox today, as you see Josh Horton staying on the ball away and driving it into the left center gap. Mike Fox said they were going to try to do some things today to try to score early, to try to put a little pressure on Oregon State. And there you see the hit and run right there.
And this is a team that does not bunt very well. About the only way they have advanced runners this year is to try to hit behind the runner They do not sacrifice well at all. 61 straight innings that Oregon State has not been behind. They're in danger of falling behind here in the first inning. Ackley, their best hitter, is up right now.
The Tar Heels have had leadoff men on 4 times in the first 6 innings yesterday, including a runner at second on the first and the 4th inning, and still failed to score. So they need to come through here.
Ackley hitting .401, but only 6 for 25 here in Omaha. Has a school record, 117 hits, led the nation this year in that category, and still building on his own record. Kid that doesn't show a lot of emotion, a very stoic personality, just goes out and plays. Carolina has been awful with runners in scoring position, but not this time. And Ackley slaps a single to left to drive in the first run of the ball game, and that 61 innings in a row streak is over.
Well, I think the third baseman Leckwood had problems seeing that particular ball. You see that we talked about that shadow already, and if we can see his reaction, it's almost like a delayed reaction. See the ball's hit there, and it looks like he really didn't pick it up until it got out of that shadow. So Oro talked about it being a little bright out here, and that shadow being very pronounced out there, and maybe that particular situation, Leckwood couldn't pick up the ball.
He was literally 1 step slow in reacting to that. FEDEROWICZ squares to bunt. He has only 1 sacrifice this year. But this is how important this is. You've got your cleanup hitter who has sacrificed once, and he's looking to lay down a bunt and advance runners.
Well, he struggled a little bit so far this series, so it doesn't really make a difference. Just make it happen.
Right down the third base line, they will throw FEDEROWICZ out. He had only been 2 for 23, but he did his job that time and got the bunt down for the sacrifice.
He squared around early and really showed he was going to bunt, but it turned out to be self-defense. Stutz's ball runs up and in on him, just grabs the barrel of the bat right in his face. If he fouls that ball off, he's going to get in the brim of his cap right there. It turns out because he had the angle of the bat so perfectly placed that the ball bounced off the bat. Perfect bunt down third. Great sacrifice.
And now Fedorov with runners at second and third, and a chance to give North Carolina a couple of more runs here with a first inning base hit. Fouls this one toward the Beavers dugout. Fedorov hitting .318 in the World Series. Second team All ACC out of Flagtown, New Jersey. This guy's a very aggressive hitter, but gets the bat on the ball, doesn't strike out very much. And with the infield back, if he puts it in play, they've got another run home. Stutz high with a fastball.
Fedorov is a guy that hits second and normally hits second in the lineup, and Coach Mike Fox, as we talked about earlier, decided to move him down in the lineup to give him more of an RBI opportunity, hitting in that 5th slot today.
We talked about Leckelt having a problem with the shadows. Did you ever have those problems as an infielder? I mean, how much did it bother you?
It definitely comes into play. You just can't see until the ball gets out of that shadow.
And as with the case with Leckelt, then it may be too late.
It's a great advantage for the pitcher, but you never wanted to have the ball come back at you. So I can imagine the third baseman, the second closest guy on the field, and usually where the balls hit the hardest, the hot corner. The reaction time is really cut in half.
2 balls and a strike to Fedorov. Runners at second and third. Still only 1 out in the inning. And a run home for North Carolina. The first time Oregon State has trailed since June 2nd in the Charlottesville Regional. They have just been ridiculously good since then. And North Carolina has accomplished what it desperately wanted to do, get the early lead. This one's fouled out of play, 2-2. Runners in scoring position, one of the fundamentals you talked about. And whether they got a break with the ball coming out of the shadows or not,
the run counts.
Well, it doesn't make a difference how you get it done. It's just a matter of getting it done. You know, very indicative of what Coach Fox, I'm sure, talked with his boys last night about. You know, you saw FEDEROWICZ absolutely give himself up and show it early, and he's the #4 hitter, and he's bunting. So it's little things that make the big difference.
Fedorov on the ground down to first. They'll come home on the throw, and he is out. Leonardton came up. Very good defensive first baseman, made the perfect throw to Canham, and he was waiting.
I'll tell you, that was an impressive play right there, simply because Leonardton is not playing in. He's actually playing back.
Exactly.
And so he's not thinking go to the plate. However, that ball's hit hard enough, and he has the time to pick up Josh Horton at third base and sees he's got time to make a throw, makes an accurate throw, throws it to the third base side of home plate, which is very important, and he can apply the tag. Mitch Canham can apply the tag.
Fedorov aboard on the fielder's choice, and Ackley goes to third, but there's now 2 out for Seth Williams, who is only 4 for 20 here in Omaha, hitting 200 in the series. Kid who has really improved this year, cutting down on his strikeouts with a shorter swing.
Man on third, less than 2 out. You got 2 instructions: contact or let it go through. And right there, Josh Horton did not do a very good job with his secondary lead. Secondary lead, you need to get the weight onto the front foot. As soon as you see the bat moving, you hear contact on the ground, you've got to break. He was late. That's the speed of a shortstop not making it on a ground ball to first.
This one's hitting the air to left center. Hopkins is over and makes the catch. So North Carolina breaks on top, but they could have done more damage. Left 2 aboard. It's 1-0, end of 1. Today, let's go back to his conversation with Pat Casey after the hit batter.
Ball. I had the ball inside. The ball was in the box. The ball was not out over the plate.
Got to be able to pitch in, Dan. Look at his cleat. Okay, 1 point. His cleat mark, he's almost out of the box when he starts.
But it doesn't matter. The pitch, I'm watching that, Pat. I've
watched this on tape. They take their arms, they stick them over the plate, they stand there, they don't move. This is, it's been addressed, hasn't it? Please watch it.
UC Irvine, 12 hit batters here. North Carolina now with 11 second. And I think Pat Casey has it right, because we've seen batters brought back in this College World Series. It's got so outrageous, the number of hit batters we've had. And batters are using it as an offensive tool now instead of within the spirit of the game and the rule as far as being protected of their bodies.
I think the spirit of the game is the key. What they're doing may be within the letter of the law, but it is against the spirit of the game. And I think they have to come down on the pitcher side a little bit more.
2-0.
Well, you can see that particular pitch is not that far off the plate. You know, Mike Stutes has got to pitch in there in order to establish the inside part of the plate. And if every time he throws in there, someone's going to stick their arm out, then they're going to effectively take that pitch away.
And Reed Frank is no stranger to being hit by a pitch. That's the 21st time this year. So it's a big part of his offensive arsenal as a leadoff guy.
Well, in my opinion, it's just another one of the rules that need to be addressed.
2-1.
Something needs to be changed, because the number of hit batsmen that we've had, it definitely changes the complexity of the ball game.
Canham off the third baseman's glove. Flack couldn't track it down. And Canham will be aboard with a single.
You see Mitch Canham ball away, stand down on the ball once again. Chad Flack, I don't know if he looks like he had a pretty good reaction time. Just a tough play to make. Actually, it's actually a nice play.
It was.
Almost made a great play on it.
Hop came up on him. It looked like it hit him on the heel of the top of the glove as he tried to backhand it.
It's one thing to be able to see the balls coming at you. It's another thing that's in soft focus and see the angle. It's another thing to get that sharp focus to get that ball to hit that glove there. So I still think the shadows impaired his vision a little bit.
Darwin Barney batting behind his close friend Mitch Canham. Showed bunt on the first pitch, 0-1. Barney hitting .333 here with 3 RBIs. Postseason, he has driven in 9. Slugs this one down the left field line.
Well, they fell behind, but it didn't take them long to regain the lead. And Darwin Barney with only his 5th home run of the year. What a time to pull one out.
Looked like Darwin Barney was looking for a pitch inside. Luke Paconen throws him a fastball and on the inner half, elevated, and Darwin just gets it out there. He's a guy that's known for his glove, but he can change. We talked about it. He can change the game on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively.
That is a new school record, 237, breaking the mark set last year by Jacoby Ellsbury. And people are going to look back at the top of the first inning where North Carolina got a run and left 2 guys on, had a runner thrown out at the plate. Let's see if that was the turning point in this ballgame, the fact that they didn't have a big rally and put 3, 4, or 5 on the board.
One of the things that's been lingering in the back of our minds is how will Oregon State respond when they are down? And Darwin Barney, one of their leaders and personalities, does it.
This one is creamed into right off the bat of John Wallace for a base hit. Got out there in a hurry to Federowiczz. 3 hits in a row. Now time for a SportsCenter 30 at 30. Here's Scott Reese.
All right, Mike, former All-Star reliever Rod Beck was found dead yesterday at his suburban Phoenix home. No word on cause of death, but foul play is not suspected. Beck, just 38 years old, had 286 Major League saves. And Ken Griffey Jr. capped his Seattle homecoming with a couple of home runs. In the process, passing Mark McGwire for 7th on the all-time list. Details on SportsCenter after Tigers Braves. And as always, stay current with ESPN News. Mike?
Scott, thanks very much. This is Scott Sanshee, who's hitting a crisp .444 out here. Statistical oddity, he's hit into 2 double plays this year, both in the College World Series. But he has a home run and 3 driven in as well.
Well, impressive how Oregon State has responded to falling behind. We wondered if the looseness would stay there. These guys have jumped on fastballs. They've still been swinging at hitters' pitches. They're not pressing and chasing the ball out of the zone. So they weren't down very long, but they did have to experience it, and they jumped right back on top.
Darwin Barney right behind Pat Casey, making him laugh. He does that a lot. Pitch out. Nothing going on.
2-1.
And it's 2 balls and a strike. And Andrew Corrigan, the closer, is already up for North Carolina.
Darwin Barney today in the paper said, you know, everything went well for us. Runners were moving. We got some hits. We put bunts down, made him throw away. We actually made Pat Casey look like he knows what he's doing.
Then he thought better of that and laughed. Runner goes, and the ball tapped foul. So it'll be 2-2, and Darwin Barney has been loose since he got here. Kid with a great personality with his teammates and with the other guys. He gets on base, he starts, somebody gets down to second, he'll start up a conversation. Kid who really enjoys baseball and enjoys life, and boy, what a future he's got as a shortstop.
See that smile on his face, but I tell you what, you look at his eyes.
Runner goes on the 2-2 and is into second base on a steal. Wallace got there ahead of the throw from FEDEROWICZ.
Not many stolen bases for Wallace at all. He's 1 for 1 this year, believe it or not. But Oregon State is not going to break or back down. They are 1 win away from the national championship. If they see an opening, they're going to go for it.
3-2 to Sanshee, and now he'll be trying to pull the ball to the right side, if nothing else, and gets a base on balls instead. Boy, and Stoops starting to struggle right here. He's given up 3 hits, including a homer, and Kerrigan trying to get ready in a hurry. I said Stoops, but Conan, excuse me. He's obviously having a tough time. And Kerrigan getting ready just as quickly as he can. When you are desperate, you can go to your closer in the second inning and hope to get anything that he can give you.
Well, I watched, Woodard and White really struggled early. Before Woodard's last performance and White's last performance, the guys didn't even get out of the second inning, or didn't get through the second inning. And Luke Peconin was a guy that stepped up when they played Louisville in an elimination game. We talked to Mike Fox early today, and he told us, listen, this is it for us. So we're going to come out with Andrew Kerrigan. We really, we didn't know what that meant, but obviously we can see he was serious about it.
Nobody out in the second, runners at first and second, 2 already home. And after the Darwin Barney homer with a man on board, they have gone to small ball, trying to add to it. Jordan Leonardton, with all that power, is up there. Let's see what they do with him. Leonardton has 1 sacrifice this year. Here's a kid who had a home run in the Little League World Series. He played for Canada, has 3 postseason home runs. In college, getting to the World Series. 2 of them here. That's inside, 2-0.
Very powerful bat. Canadian kid that Pat Casey described as an area swinger. That low in, middle, up in pitch he really loves. A left-hander. He's got a short, compact swing, kind of a short arm swing in there. Doesn't hit the ball away very well. Even when the ball's in, he'll drive it opposite field.
Smokes this one to dead center field. Seth Williams back about 5 steps short of the track. That's the first out. It will get Wallace over to third. First and third with 1 gone. Leonardton hit it on a line, but right at the center fielder Williams as he retreated. So Peconin trying to get out of a jam here without any more damage. And Leckel will stand in, hitting .286 in the College World Series, which is better than his season average, .235. Just hasn't hit that well for them all year. It takes a breaking ball for a called strike.
The easiest pitch to hit with these shadows is a high fastball because it originates in the same place as it ends up. Anything else that you can make break late or keep down or give some spin to that the hitter can't recognize, and everything that's been hit hard so far has been a high fastball.
2 on, 1 out here in the second. North Carolina broke on top in the bottom half of the first, but Oregon State came right back to regain the lead, and they're bidding for more. Leckel, who had 2 huge home runs in the Virginia Regional in Charlottesville, as they had to travel all the way across the country to help get them to the Super Regional, takes a called strike. 0-2. North Carolina needs a double play. They had 5 yesterday, tied a World Series record. But Leckel not much of a candidate. He hasn't grounded into any all year. Breaking pitch low.
1-2.
1 ball and 2 strikes from Luke Peconin.
Here we go. 1-2.
After Leckel would go back to the top of the order for Hopkins. That one's in the dirt. Runner goes, and there will be runners at second and third as Sanchi took off and picked a perfect pitch to run. FEDEROWICZ had no chance.
That's just aggressive base running right there. So as a base runner, you see the ball down in the dirt, especially in a double play situation, and you're on first base, you're getting that secondary lead trying to break up the double play, and you see that ball anywhere down around the dirt, your first movement is breaking to second base. Good job of base running right there by Sanchi.
Leckel now does not have to worry about the double play, just trying to get it in play. And tried to check his swing, but couldn't. It strikes out for the second out of the inning.
Well, this is where Barry talked about yesterday. You are just trying to put the ball in play. The infielders are back in the middle. You got a run to pick up. Just look for the ball away. Try and stay on it. Fight off the ball inside. Try and hit yourself a little ground ball up the middle plate. Pepper, but a little too aggressive, and with the shadows and a sharp biting curveball, ends up being a strikeout.
Hopkins, who grounded out his first time, has runners at second and third now with 2 out. Oregon State leading 2-1. Be huge for Peconin and North Carolina if he can get out of this jam without any more runs scored.
Met Chris Hopkins' dad today in the lobby of the hotel. He kind of set me up because he asked me who I thought was going to win the night before he introduced himself. I said, you know, I'm playing it pretty neutral right now, but Oregon looks pretty good emotionally. He goes, oh, I'm glad you said that. My son's Chris. He had a pretty good scouting report on his son's team, too. He said, you know, the sum of the parts is probably greater than the individuals. We don't have that big, huge star and the big, huge bat, but these guys play together. They play loose, and he had a nice scouting report on his son's team.
Hit toward third. Look at the speed of Hopkins. And off the bag, Ackley came off to field the low throw from Flack. Hopkins is safe and the run scores.
Chris Hopkins can definitely run, and Chad Flack knows he's got to get rid of that ball quickly. He comes up and makes a pretty good play. Unfortunately, that ball in the ground and Ackley in the dirt, and Ackley has to come. Look, he jumps off the bag in order to block that ball. Great call by the first base umpire right there.
It's an error on the throw, no RBI, but it's 3-1. Hopkins aboard on the error. Sanchi goes to third, and this is Joey Wong. Once again, the fundamentals betraying North Carolina.
Been a very fundamentally sound team throughout the whole season, but they have been snake bit all the way back to last year when they played OSU in the finals as far as executing against this particular team.
That'll get out of play.
And in all fairness to Chad Flack, I don't know if that's not a routine play right there. You know, you've got shadows, you've got a slow infield, and you've got a very fast runner that hits the ball. You got to come in and backhand it. You know, I know a lot of third basemen in the big league that'll have trouble making that play right there. My buddy Ryan Zimmerman, I don't know if you guys saw the replay of him when they were playing the Tigers and the ball went into his shirt the other day. He just put that one right in his shirt right there.
Runner goes, pitch is foul. When they have people on, they just want to put pressure on the defense, especially after North Carolina has shown they can be vulnerable to it.
This is their style of play, though, and you know, Joey Wong has been in the middle of all of it. So you see he's hitting .372 with 7 ribbies in 8 games, and he's 7 for 12 in the last 4 games. So this guy, you know, although he's not one guy that's he's not gonna pop, he's not gonna be the guy that's gonna hit the 3-run homer and carry the team offensively. He's doing the small things.
31 pitches this inning for Peconin, and Hopkins cruises into second base with no throw.
Well, the breaking ball has been the pitch that has got him some outs. Watch for the wild pitch in the dirt right here, 1 and 2, with a man on third.
And Kerrigan just itching to get in there. Remember, he's the closer. The guy who usually comes in the 9th after a setup man takes care of it. The longest outing he's had in his career, 4 innings, and they're calling on him perhaps in the 2nd.
Well, in all our meetings with the head coaches, because of this format, they've talked about how the save is not always in the 9th inning. Sometimes it's in the 6th or the 7th, but I didn't hear anybody talking about the 2nd.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Joey Wong, the 8th man to hit this inning, and he walks. Well, you would think if North Carolina is going to go to the closer in the 2nd inning, this may be the time, because Lisman is up, a guy who can make this a 7-1 game with 1 cut. Mike Fox on the dugout steps, and here he comes. One more look to see if Kerrigan is ready. The theory behind this, there is no tomorrow if you don't win today. If you got to use them all, use them all. We'll check out Kerrigan's numbers when we come back.
Samuel Adams was a Patriot.
I knew at the end of the game, so you got to want the ball and go after people.
This kid is just lights out. 18 saves this year, tied for the national lead. A microscopic ERA of 1.21. Oral, he's the real deal.
He throws it very hard. He's got exceptional secondary stuff. He's got the mentality of a closer, and he can go longer than the 3rd of an inning. Just getting him out of this jam, he'll probably get pushed to 3 or 4 innings if he can keep them in the game.
The closer is on in the 2nd. As Yogi Berra once said, it gets late out here early. It's late for this ball club. It's early for Kerrigan. And Lisman, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs in the College World Series, stands in with the bases loaded. Kerrigan can get it up at 95.
Baseball's a game of momentum. Oregon State has momentum, and Mike Fox doesn't want it to get out of hand. So he's going with Kerrigan early in this game, in my opinion, just because, you know what, he can't save it until the 9th inning because he might not get there.
Lisman hitting 400 in Omaha. Late on a fastball, fouls that one out of play.
1-2.
Darwin Barney looking on. It's 3-1 in the 2nd. Struck him out on a high fastball. Kerrigan shows you why he has saved 18 games this year. He's got magical stuff. But Oregon State has gotten 3 runs in the 2nd to regain the lead. Welcome back to the College World Series in Omaha. 3-1 Oregon State. Let's check in with Aaron Andrews. Aaron.
Mike, Oregon State players really respect Mitch Canham, not only for what he does on the field, but what he's had to endure off of it. On the very first day of his freshman year, his mother, Kim, died of a drug overdose, and Canham has told us that he used that incident as inspiration to try to help motivate people who are dealing with the same kind of problems. I mean, this is a guy that donates his time, and he speaks with kids about drugs and drug prevention, and talking to some of his teammates like Darwin Barney, who says Mitch Canham is one of my heroes because this kid is a warrior. He didn't let what he dealt with in his freshman year with his mother bring him down, and it's clearly what we've gotten to observe from him. One of the greatest stories in college baseball right now.
What a good kid he is. His grandparents, Terry and Barb, are here to enjoy watching him play. He will go on to professional baseball, and with any luck will have a tremendous career there. But he is a quality kid. North Carolina has to go back to work with the bottom 3rd of the order. This is Kyle Seager. The Heels are down 3-1. They had a brief lead the first time Oregon State's been behind in 61 innings of the NCAA tournament and 50 innings of the College World Series. The numbers on Seager, sitting 286 in the series, has driven in a couple.
Psychologically, if you're North Carolina, it's important to try to come back with something right away, because you know, you press up on these guys and they push back. You know, you're thinking you're elated at first. You're like, okay, we scored, we got them behind. Then not even a half an inning later, they drop a 3 spot on you. So it's very important for them to answer the response of Oregon State.
Seager takes a pitch low. From Stutes, it's 2-2. Baseball is normally a roller coaster of emotion. For North Carolina, they had to be so high getting that first run in the first inning. This one lofted to left. Listman is waiting. He's got it for 1 out. We have shown you ever since we have been here a new statistic called win probability. The factors of the score, the inning, the runners on, number of outs, the position in the batting order, based on over 1 million plays that they have used in the database. And the win probability right now, Oregon State a 2-1 favorite to win. If you go through all those probabilities with a 3-1 lead in the second inning. We would caution you, however, it says probability, not something you can put in the bank.
Well, we've seen that shift a lot as far as the scoreboard and the probability. It's just kind of an added conversation starter, really, of what you logically would be sitting there with your buddy or your family kind of predicting who's going to win or lose. Somebody has put a number on it now.
Chad Flack 0-2, spoils a fastball. Of course, it's the kind of thing that the team that's ahead is going to put a lot of emphasis on it. The team that's behind is going to say, hey, forget that stuff. You know.
Well, I tell you, as a hitter or out there as a player, you could care less of what the statistics say. You still have an opportunity.
Hopkins ranges back toward the warning track and makes the catch for the second out of the inning. Right now, Oregon State's got to be back up emotionally, and Carolina has to be down a little bit.
Well, yeah, this is a mental battle that you go through. Even at the big league level, I can remember giving up runs on the mound and going through that emotional battle of, I'm not going to give up. I've got to stay within my game plan. You know, I've got to attack Barry with this pitch. I've got to do this. And he's already got a hit or 2 and 3 RBIs. And I know he's hot. And how am I going to adjust myself? We just got to play the game.
Well, you hit 300 off him, so there were days.
Easy, Mike.
There were days where you did have a hit and a couple of RBIs.
Where there were days, but I tell you, it's about playing the game. There's a game within the game, and regardless of what the situation is out there, there's the battle between the hitter and the pitcher, and that's where you really try to focus, and that's what you want to win. You don't want to just win the game. You want to win every single pitch.
Of course, we could point out that hitting 300 is being out 7 out of 10 times.
That's right. Well, it is being out 7 out of 10 times, but the thing that I was saying easy to you about was the fact that you had that off the top of your head. You didn't have to look it up.
I know your history. An all-star. I know everybody's all-star history. A ball and 2 strikes to the number 9 man, Garrett Gore. Struck him out looking. 1, 2, 3 for Stutes. Mitch Canham, Oregon State's catcher and leader, coming up in the next inning.
They dove. I'm a savage, got a crew of men ready to win. We hater bust in quick fashion. Hard working fellas doing that. O-State repping when the bat's in my hand, you know what's a weapon.
Little inspirational rap for the ball club. I still don't know how they do it.
It's a fast mind.
No wonder I don't know how. Canham leads it off. Here in the Oregon State third, they're up 3-1.
Ball.
Kerrigan, the closer, is on for his second inning of work. Canham 7 for 17 at the College World Series. Kid is a streak hitter, really good athlete.
We were watching batting practice as people went in and out of the cage. We really couldn't see their numbers because of the meshing around, and Barry and I were commenting on who do we think that is, and Barry said, I think it's Canham, and it was like the feet were awesome, the hips were fast, the hands were great, the posture was good, the swing was solid. First round draft pick.
Ripped past
the diving shortstop Horton. So Canham is 2 for 2. A ringing single there. We're at the College World Series in Omaha for North Carolina. This is an elimination game. Oregon State won the first last night 11-4. Carolina has to come back tonight to force game 3. They did get the lead in the first inning, but Oregon State responded and is back on top 3-1. Can they possibly repeat as national champions with only 2 position players back? Their 2 leaders, Canham, who was at first, and this is Darwin Barney, who's up now. They think they can. It would be a great story for college baseball. Barney homered his first time up. A screaming line drive that just cleared the wall in left field. And that's our sonic drive of the game. His 5th home run of the year. Just got over that yellow pad on top of the wall, which is in play. Hit down to first, off the glove of Ackley. He recovers and will take it himself. 3 unassisted as Canham goes into second base. And now John Wallace, who singled a line drive to right his first time.
You know, Mike, one of the things that scouts look at is when the best face the best, or when you're thinking about moving a guy from AA to AAA, how does he do against the 3-4 hitter? How does he do against the #1 starter? Well, that at bat, Mitch Canham against Kerrigan, was a very good at bat for scouts. That's when they sit up and take notice, because those are the people they're going to compete against when they get the professional ball and then to the big leagues.
Bunted toward third, rolls foul. Wallace trying to bunt his way on. These guys are really good at small ball. They love to manufacture runs, but it's an oddity. This is not a team that gives you the flipper over the plate and tries to get hit, and a lot of small ball teams in college, that's exactly what they do.
Well, yeah, they do, but Pat Casey is not going to have his guys go out there and do that. He's a fundamentalist. He wants to go out there. He's a teacher. I mean, there's a reason he's still there. He's had a lot of opportunities to go elsewhere, but he wants to be there, and he wants to continue to teach, and he's done a great job with these guys. They're out there playing the game the right way and trying to win the ball game.
That one's up and in.
It's hard to believe that he could have been gone, too.
Boy, it is. And for a lot of people in Oregon, it was hard to believe that he didn't go, because he had a chance to go to some really big programs, including Notre Dame. One of the Oregon State fans told me they scraped up every dime and nickel they could find in the state of Oregon to keep Pat Casey, and they're just delighted with the results, that he stayed, signed a new contract, and that they're back in Omaha.
And he's starting to get sentimental here. I know it's coming something close if they win 2 national championships. The thing he gets sentimental most about is losing Darwin Barney and Mitch Canham, his 2 leaders that he's become very close to.
Yeah, guys like that don't come along very often. I mean, there's a lot of good kids and a lot of good players in college, but when you have great personalities, great character, and great talent on top of it, that is a rarity, and he will miss it.
Well, we were talking about scouts, and scouts will talk about the guy has great ability, great bat speed, great hands, and he's got a great face. And these guys both have great faces. It's amazing that big hearts come through into facial expressions and to eyes, and even players recognize. I mean, Barry's up here. He's been here just as long as I have the whole week, but we recognize the guys that really have it inside.
And that's one of the things I was talking about earlier about Darwin Barney. If you look in his eyes, you see this nice, gleeful smile that he's got going on. But you look at his eyes, and you can see the intensity in his eyes and the passion. These guys all play with passion.
And when you see that, I know in football and basketball, more and more teams are trying to look at that quality of a human being in determining who they're going to draft. How do you think baseball does in that regard? Is baseball more cognizant of that than other sports, do you think?
I think that's why you have organizations that do a great job in the draft year in and year out, because that's such an intangible, but you have scouts that are talented enough to find that attribute. That is a guy that's not only good at a watch, not only good at looking at stats and power, not only good at looking at a guy field ground balls and see he has soft hands, but he can look into the soul of a player and know who's going to show up 162 games, who's going to have good off the field habits, who's going to be in the weight room busting it, who's going to be a good teammate. And those are the things that can put you over the top.
Two men on, one out for Scott Sanchi.
We played against Barry. I knew his ability, but I also knew Barry was going to show up every day, no matter if he was 0 for 4 or if he just booted a ball in the infield. He wasn't going to throw it bat away, and that's what you respect in a competitor. That's who you want on your team.
Little blooper into right center field. It's going to fall and get a run home. Sanchi with a looping single to right, and it's 4-1 Oregon State. Didn't hit it hard, but perfectly placed.
You see a fastball out over the plate. And Scott Sanchi just hits it off the end of that bat. Gets enough of it to drop it in front of the center fielder there. You know, and Andrew Kerrigan can't do it all by himself. You know, he can only minimize the damage that's been done and try to give these guys an opportunity to stay in the game. Anytime you see a closer come out of his role as a closer late in the ball game, you're always concerned with how he's going to perform. And, you know, you start to stretch these guys out, they become a little more vulnerable.
The win probability now nearly 4-1 in favor of Oregon State, even though it's very early, only the 3rd inning. And here's Leonardton, who was homered twice in Omaha. Looking down for a sign. What do they want him to do on 1st and 3rd? 1 out. Takes that for a called strike.
This, in my opinion, is huge for North Carolina right now, because if you're North Carolina, if you're playing on this team, you're thinking, okay, we're throwing our ace out there, and he's going to stop this onslaught. Yeah. Well, if he gives up a couple more runs this particular inning, this could be devastating for the psyche of the players.
Chopped up the middle. Got one, throw across, got two. Josh Horton took his time, knew he had plenty of time to get Leonardton, who doesn't run well, and he gets him out of a big jam with the double play. But it's 4-1 Oregon State as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Outside of Rosenblatt Stadium, that great statue. Inside, it's 4-1 Oregon State. Down on the field, it's Aaron Andrews.
Mike, Oregon State undergrad assistant Kurt Steele had a pretty busy 48 hours, if you will. How about getting married yesterday back in Oregon? His lovely wife, Kathy, now here today in the stands with her veil on, no less. But, you know, he had this wedding planned for a year. His best man getting ready to be deployed to the Middle East, so he wanted to get it, you know, he wanted to have him in his wedding. Well, here's a funny story that happened yesterday during the 7th inning, which, by the way, ended up being the time his best man was giving a toast. Oregon State started chipping in some runs, and the whole crowd went nuts inside the reception, so no one was paying attention to the toast. Great wedding, I heard. I heard they arrived this afternoon at 1:30, but they had to leave Oregon this morning at about 3:45. But he's here, he's ready to go, and God bless Kathy for being here on her honeymoon.
I think Kathy deserves a standing ovation, Aaron. That's pretty good stuff. And I tell you what, if this guy hadn't gone back home for the wedding, there wouldn't have been a wedding anytime. First time I've ever seen someone at the ballpark after they got married still wearing the veil, though. 1-1. There's a pitch inside.
You see that pitch inside. Reed Fromm did not even attempt to get out of the way once again. That pitch missed him by a matter of inches, not centimeters.
He got plunked to start the ball game, and that's a fastball. Outside and high, 3 balls and a strike.
Stutes has allowed only 2 hits in front, draws a base on balls. So the table setter does it again. To keep up with all of the NCAA College World Series information, just log on to NCAAsports.com. It's the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships. And now Horton, who had the first 3 strikeout game of his entire career yesterday and had been in a horrible slump for 1 game only. It's amazing how 1 game can really upset a good hitter. He's still hitting .348 at the College World Series, so it's not like he walked off the bus a week ago and hasn't hit anything hard since.
Baseball players have to have short memories. You don't want to remember if you did 1 thing good yesterday, you strike out 3 times, but if you hit 1 ball well, you got to remember the 1 ball and the approach you had on the ball you hit well.
Second round draft choice of Oakland. And all at once Stutes finds the plate dancing around on him a little bit. If North Carolina doesn't come back and force a game 3, they're going to look at themselves very hard about their lack of fundamentals. A team that has worked on sacrifice bunting all year long just hasn't been able to do it. Just not good at that aspect of the game. Some teams can get away with not using that as an offensive weapon, but there are times when it really seems mandatory, Barry.
Well, when you play at such a high level, everyone on this field is a good baseball player. The difference between the guys that are successful and not successful are the guys that can execute. The guys that practice at that high level, so when the game comes about, they don't have to turn it up. They just are on cruise control.
Base hit through the hole into left field. So 2 on with nobody out. Horton 2 hits today. And here come the heels. And that gets their best hitter, one of the best hitters in the nation, to the plate, Dustin Ackley, who got his 118th base knock first time up.
Now, Mike Stutes has been collapsing that back leg and throwing uphill. He's not been able to get the ball to his non-arm side. As soon as you collapse your knee that great, your hip can't function and get around. See how the back hip is actually behind his front leg and never fires forward? As soon as you bust that knee over your toe, you're going to shut down your back hip. You're going to feel like you're throwing uphill, and you can't get back to the hitter. And everything he has thrown has either been high and away or on the outer half of the plate to lefties.
We also saw in that replay, Reed Fromp, that was a hit and run right there.
Here's Ackley. Curveball way inside.
So North Carolina's not going to sit around and take it. They're going to continue to try to be aggressive and bounce back. Like I said, this is a big inning for them. Try to get something done offensively.
So the moves that John Fox made in his lineup changes working so far.
1 ball. Play.
Ackley, what a future he has. Freshman of the year, nationally, uses all fields, good power, good against left-handers, good against everybody. There's just no hole in what he does. Struggled out here the first 3 games. Since then, 6 for 13, 2 home runs, 4 driven in, and he has never been up in a more pressure-packed spot than right now.
Well, he came into this tournament hitting 3rd in the lineup, and he did struggle. And Mike Fox moved him to 7th, moved him to 5th, and here he's back hitting 3rd.
Pitch hangs outside. 2 balls and a strike from Stutes. No action in the Oregon State bullpen.
Well, Stutes could fix this in a hurry if he would just stay tall on his back leg. Everything else is functioning well. He's hiding the ball well. He's doing everything, but he's over trying and collapsing that back leg.
Here's the 2-1 to Ackley. On the corner, 2-2.
It's like Oral said, every pitch that he is getting by these hitters is elevated. Every pitch has been either up and away or just up in the zone.
Boy, it's dangerous to elevate anything to Ackley.
That's That's my job. That is my job to keep it in the box.
Mike Fox wanting to talk to home plate umpire Dan Mascoro, and you heard him say, "That's my job." And I don't know what he was responding to. Kyle Peterson, you have any word on that one?
Yeah, Mike, before the game when I talked to Mike Fox, one thing he pointed out is this Oregon State team plays at a different pace than they're used to. They try to slow the game down, and you'll see sometimes Mitch Canham look over to that dugout, take his time to get the pitch call, and then put that pitch call in. It was one of the things that really bothered this club yesterday. I think that's what it was right there. They want the pace to be a little bit faster than it was yesterday, and I guarantee you that's what he wants to talk to Dan Mascaro about right there.
All right, thanks, Kyle. Here's the 2-2 to Ackley. Popped it up. That'll get back on the screen just below us.
It's a little upside down from the normal logic. Usually it's hitters that are stepping out to slow the pitcher down so that they can't suffocate the hitter. And here we have an offensive team griping about the pace of the pitcher slowing down. Probably a lot of these coaches have read Dave Peltz's book on golf. For a practice swing within 9 to 11 seconds of when you take your shot, that you can feel it.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Barry, we can tell Oral is really big on mechanics, right?
I knew that. I knew I was going to find that out of here. Absolutely, but that's why he was so good.
And when things go wrong, it's wonderful to know why. And when things go right, it's even better to know why. Lost him with an outside fastball. Stutes digging himself a massive hole. Trying to squander a 3-1 lead, or 4-1 lead, rather.
Well, if we charted his pitches right now, they would be all arm side, waist high, or arm side high. The only balls he's gotten inside the lefties has been the breaking ball, and he has to come around that and pull it. When he collapses that back leg, he might as well be throwing it downhill to the North Carolina dugout compared to home plate.
Attorney Track says in this situation you get 2 or more runs in 73% of these situations. And that would be great news for Carolina because they need 2+ runs, and they need them right now. And right now, Pat Casey is looking at his bullpen, and nothing's going on down there. FEDEROWICZ comes up with the bases loaded. 0 for his last 15, and with the bases loaded as a team, they are 0 for 5. So you've got 2 ways to look at it. FEDEROWICZ in a horrible slump as does the team, or FEDEROWICZ is due. Baseball is the only sport that says the guy's got to be due.
Well, when a batter's in a slump, he's usually pulling off the ball. And the pitch that Stutes is throwing right now, the fastball in, is the only place he can throw. If FEDEROWICZ gets one in there, it's going to be right in his swing. The breaking ball could be flat. If he lays off of that, he's also got a good chance of getting a hit.
1 ball, no strikes, no place to put him. Inside again. 2 balls, no strikes. Barry, if you're a hitter, what are you sitting on now? A pitch in a place?
Well, if you're a hitter and you're swinging well, you're absolutely sitting on something. But in this particular situation, FEDEROWICZ, he's just looking for a pitch that he can handle. You know, nothing in particular, but just something wherever he's comfortable, that's where he's looking.
Swing and a miss on a fastball.
You know, and when you're struggling, you miss pitches like that. I mean, that's a fastball right over the middle of the plate, elevated, and all you got to do is touch that ball. But when you're struggling a little bit, all of a sudden, there's a hole in that bat.
2 balls and a strike. 4 home runs this year for FEDEROWICZ. He has better power than the numbers would tell you. He's been a clutch hitter all this year, but not here in Omaha. Towards short, could be 2. Barney had a little trouble getting the ball out of his glove and only got 1 at second base. Fielder's choice, FEDEROWICZ drives in a run as Frank scores from third, and we've got first and third with 1 out now.
Ball hit to Barney's right. It's like he double clutches a little bit. Maybe took his eye off the ball and kind of lost the handle on the ball. FEDEROWICZ is feeling good about himself. I mean, he got a run in there. You know, and Barney, I know he's probably upset that he didn't turn that double play, but these guys have been so good. You know, that just happens. That just happens in the play of the game. Maybe there was a little spin on that ball. Maybe it took a little different hop or something. But, you know, probably a double play that they could have turned, but it would have been bang, bang either way.
And we already know Joey Wong has no problem making a turn against anybody in any situation, even if he's got to go parallel to the ground. Fedorov.
Well, that was the infielder's perspective. I'm pitcher. That's got to be turned right there. Let's go, Meat. Let's go, Meat. I got the ground ball to get myself out of a jam. I'm out here struggling. I've lost my mechanics, and you can't make 2 on that? Let's go, Meat.
I agree with you, buddy.
Okay.
I agree with you.
You be trotting in there to the mound right now saying to me, I'm sorry, throw me another one. I apologize.
You're daggone
And I know what Darwin Barney's thinking the same thing.
You're right.
Swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes to Fedorov. He grounded into a fielder's choice his last time up.
Situation like that, if you are a middle infielder, you obviously want to turn a double play, but every ball that's hit, and Barney's been very good at this, you want to make sure when you hear it, as cliche as, but it absolutely happens.
Tried to check his swing, but he didn't. Fedorov called out on a check swing.
Major League manager wants a player that makes the routine play routinely. Fedorov looked like he went a little
past parallel.
Absolutely. But guys, I mean, if you're a middle infielder, you're thinking you want to make all the dynamic, the spectacular plays, and Darwin Barney and Joey Wong have absolutely done that. But the thing that they have done is they made every routine play, they've made them routinely, and that's what people want. That's what a manager relies on. That's what Oro wants when he's pitching.
Now Seth Williams, astute, trying to get out of a huge jam with 2 outs and runners at first and third.
Isn't that right, Bulldog?
It is right, big guy. I still want that double play ball, though.
Get over it, me.
Pop back out of play. 0-2 to Williams. North Carolina rallied in the first, left 2 guys on. They had the bases loaded with nobody out here. They don't get a big base hit here and produce something else. This will be another opportunity gone.
Well, they've done it all series. You know, psychologically, these guys have really struggled with situational hitting. It's just a matter of just touching the ball and doing something small, and then you have the snowball effect. That's what they got to do. They got to get the small things done in order to produce big results.
For a pitcher, this has got to be a tremendous feeling of satisfaction, Earl, if you can get out of this jam.
Well, yeah, he's struggling mightily right here, and 1 pitch, he's out of it.
Try to get him to chase the low curve.
This is the kind of thing that if he can get in the dugout with this 4-2 lead and they can talk about the mechanical fix, maybe even an emotional fix of not trying so hard. Sometimes you don't know if it's the cart before the horse. Sometimes you calm the emotions down, the overthrowing, the mechanics clear out. Sometimes the mechanical fix then clears the mind. You just don't know which one it's going to be as a coach.
Williams hit a fly ball to center his first time up. In the air to shallow left. Barney back on the grass, says he wants it. He's called off. And the catch made in left field by John Wallace. So Stutes does get out of it. Bases loaded, nobody out, allows only 1 run and preserves the 4-2 lead. The frustration starting to build for the Eels. As usual, it has been a great pleasure for us to be out here for the College World Series. It just seems to get better each year. Bigger, record crowds, better and better baseball. And a great storyline this year with Oregon State trying to repeat as national champions. And the Heels out here in full force. in the air to shallow right field off Leckelt's bat. And Garrett Gore will make the catch near the line. 1 out in the top of the 4th for Oregon State. In case you joined us late, Andrew Kerrigan, the closer for North Carolina, is already in the ball game. He came on with 2 out in the 2nd inning, trying to shut down a rally, and did. Fastball low here to Hopkins, who is 1 for 2, or 0 for 2, reached on an error his 2nd time up. Well, Kerrigan's got some giddy up on that thing, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Here's the starter, Putkonen, who struggled from the very beginning.
Well, where Oregon State starters have gone 6+ in every game they've played, only 3 out of 7. 3 out of 7, no, of the starters for North Carolina have only gone 2 innings.
And Putkonen didn't make it that far, 1 2/3. On the ground to the shortstop, Horton. 2 out quickly. Putkonen against Louisville was the savior. He quieted the hot bats of the Cardinals, but only went 1 2/3, gave up 2 earned runs. And is on the hook to be the loser in the deciding game of the College World Series unless his teammates can come back for him. Here's Joey Wong, has a walk and is 0 for 1 officially.
Well, people at home thinking Kerrigan's a closer, how far can he go? On April 8th against Boston College, went 4 innings, gave up a hit, struck out 3, and June 10th against South Carolina went 4 innings, 1 hit, struck out 3.
Mike Fox said something about you might see him in the 2nd inning and he might go through the 9th. So maybe he's a little bit more optimistic than his closer is. First 4 games in the series when he combined 6 1/3.
Well, in the 1 4-inning outing, he struck out 3 and walked 3. That tells me that he threw a lot of pitches. He probably threw close to 75 pitches here today, already 32 pitches. So he needs to get a little more efficient if he's going to have that long outing today.
Struck him out, a quick 1 2 3 inning for Kerrigan this ESPN2 telecast available on ESPN2 and in sparkling high definition on ESPN2 HD, presented by Olivia. Hope you're enjoying the beautiful pictures. It is 4 2, bottom of the 4th, and here is Oral up in the Home Depot Clinic.
Well, last inning we saw Mike Stutes struggling with his control, keeping the ball up, and a lot of it came from his back leg. Let's take a look at him there. You watch the back leg. When that back knee collapses, it shuts down the back hip, and now you are throwing uphill. Even the mound doesn't take that away from you. And so what you need to do is you need to stay tall on that back leg so the ball doesn't end up high and away. You collapse the back leg, you throw uphill, the ball ends up high and away. And what you need to do is you need to stay tall. You can't collapse that leg over the knee. You've got to keep it over the ball of your foot. And the other thing, he is looking for movement, and the movement is coming here. And what he needs to do is keep the back leg moving forward towards home plate, even very gradually and subtly, so he can feel like he has some momentum going to home.
All right, Oral, thanks very much. And Stutes, sure the pitching coaches in the dugout trying to work with him on his mechanics in between innings. He got out of a huge jam in the last inning with the bases loaded, nobody out, allowed only 1 run, and preserved the 4-2 lead. And let's see what he does against Seager here. Kyle, the DH, starting the North Carolina 4th inning. They are the home team tonight. Oregon State, by virtue of being undefeated in their bracket, was the home team in the opening game. They would flip a coin if there's a 3rd game tomorrow. Seager flew to left his first time up. up the middle for a base hit. Past the pitcher. Let's go to Scott Reese in the studio. A SportsCenter 30 at 30. Scott?
All right, Mike, former All-Star reliever Rod Beck was found dead yesterday at his suburban Phoenix home. No word on cause of death, but foul play is not suspected. Beck with 286 career saves. He was just 38 years old. And Ken Griffey Jr. capped his Seattle homecoming with a couple of home runs. In the process, passing Mark McGwire for 7th place on the all-time list. Details on SportsCenter on ESPN after Tigers Braves, and stay current with ESPN News.
Scott, thanks so much. We're in the bottom of the 4th here. A runner on. Seager after a single. And the number 8 man, Chat Flack, takes a big swing and a miss. The Heels have had base runners today, but they've only pushed 2 of them across so far.
Yeah, the runs that they've gotten are really more scratch runs. They really haven't finished off their rallies, and that's really disappointing as an offensive club.
High in the air to shallow right. Joey Wong back on the grass for the first out of the inning.
It's one thing to drive runs in with hits. It's another thing to trade outs for runs, and those are the kind of runs that Carolina has been getting. Those are the ones you expect to pick up, but they need those ones that just finish off rallies where it's a double in the gap, and all of a sudden they've got some adrenaline flowing through their bench, which then equates to a lot of confidence.
Barry, you saw them against Louisville when they were hitting all those home runs. They broke out of a batting slump.
Well, the point is that they were hitting home runs, and that's really the way they've been able to score their runs this entire World Series. They haven't really manufactured and played and done the small things and plated runs from, as Oral said, really finishing the rallies. You know, a home run, in my opinion, a lot of times is a rally killer.
It sure is. Even as a pitcher, when I've given up a home run, it's almost like a fresh start. You get back in, you're in the rally and you're pitching from the stretch, and all of a sudden you get back to your windup. You start to feel like, okay, that's a fresh start. I'm in the beginning of an inning here. Maybe I even start an inning with an out when the home run comes with an out.
Garrett Gore with a runner at first. No balls and a strike. Gore, strikeout victim, his first time up. We're in the bottom of the 4th and finally see some activity in the Oregon State bullpen as they get ready with Maxwell and Gerbovac just in case. Maxwell is the left-hander. We have seen Gerbovac pitch in the College World Series. No balls and 2 strikes to Garrett Gore with Siegel at first and 1 out. Fouled straight back on a high fastball. Do you see any change in the mechanics this inning, Oral?
A little better. The knee's still collapsing, but his rhythm is a little slower, which has given his arm a little bit of a chance to catch up. When you create all those angles, the big hip turn, the big knee collapse, the big shoulder turn, you then have to be patient enough for that all to unwind to get back to the plate. And in the olden days, pre-1968, when the mound was a steeper mound, you saw pitchers with those kind of mechanics because between the timing and the depth of the mound, those things could unwind.
Pitch high. 1 ball, 2 strike. Of course, Bob Gibson took care of the height of the mound. Bob Gibson, Don Drysdale scoreless streak. You know, Gibson, what was the ERA that year? It was in the ones, I think. 1.12. Denny McClain won 31 games. It was really the year of the pitcher, and then they decided to, bring in the aluminum bat and lower the mound. A 1.12 will do that to you. One of the great numbers in all of sports. Yeah, you think I should know that number. Well, everybody else was pretty much a fantasy. How can you have a 1.12 ERA for a season? Of course, Bob lives in Omaha. He was a basketball star at Creighton and has a street down here just below the ballpark named for him. Two balls and 2 strikes to Garrett Gore. North Carolina trying to fight its way back into this, down 4-2. Gore hanging in against Stutes. And is called out on a fastball that looked like it was off the plate inside. Boy, that's a break for Stutes.
When you wear out one side of the plate, sometimes you get the borderline calls, but when you're this erratic, you really shouldn't. And right there, I know when the umpire sees that one later on the DVD that we supply them, he's going to be a little upset with that call.
You can even see Canham pulling it in a few inches to frame it. Back to the top of the order to Frank, who has been on twice, hit by a pitch and walked. His average holds at 321. Frank only hitting .250, but his on-base percentage here is .500. Been hit 4 times and has 6 walks. Now, he doesn't have to hit. And they'll take base runners any way they can get them.
Well, Frank is hitting #1. He's an RBI guy, but he is a table setter. And the job of the leadoff guy is to get on base. However, you have to get on base. I mean, there's a lot of leadoff guys that play in the big leagues that don't hit 300, but their on-base percentage is around 450. You know, they're in there, they're doing with the small things, and that's a very important part of the game. The small things are very important.
Checking throw to first. Frank, a 7th round draft pick of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. And as you can tell by the outfits in the stands, another perfect day for baseball in Omaha. Sun still a factor, hanging over that pavilion and left.
You know, Mike, Oregon State is playing conventional outfield defense right here with 2 outs and a man on first, not looking to give up any doubles. You see how deep they are, guarding the gaps and left center. Expecting Frank to go the opposite way, but for a guy that doesn't have much power, look how deep they're playing. They want 2 hits to score that run, not 1.
Swing and a miss. Well, if they can pull one into right center, he can run for about the next 45 seconds.
Well, the depth, though, allows them to cut the angle off, so he's going to have to scorch it to get it through them because they are so deep. But you're right, right center is the place they don't expect the ball to be hit.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Frank. Stutes peering into Canham for the sign. Throw to first.
Barry, did you ever hit to the defense?
Never hit to the defense, actually, but you know, like when you play as certain teams, very good at pitching with their defense, very consistent with their defense. And Atlanta comes to mind, you know, with Smokes and Avery and Glavin and Maddox. If they were playing you away, pretty much for certain they'll pitch you away.
That fastball was poured right down the middle for a called strike 3. Fans, the last 2 men. Darwin Barney, Oregon State's outgoing shortstop, will be coming up this inning. Right now he's pitching for Detroit on Sunday Night Baseball. We asked him what his experience at the College World Series has meant to his major league career.
Yeah, just the experience of, you know, pitching tough games and big games. You know, it's a little different in college than it is here, but you know, pitching against a rival or something like that, you know, just taking the excitement and, you know, having to pitch under those conditions. And luckily I got to experience that quite a bit at Carolina and carry that over to here.
He has pitched 2 1/3 tonight for the Tigers without giving up a run. And boy, when he has made his progress through minor leagues to join that pitching staff, it's pretty good stuff.
Well, it is. I remember doing Wednesday Night Baseball last year, his first big league outing against the Yankees. He faced the likes of Cabrera and Jeter and Damon, I remember. Got out of that inning, but in college ball, short minor league stint to facing the Yankees.
You see a lot of that nowadays. You see a lot of these younger guys making an impact in Major League Baseball really early.
Miller put up some enormous numbers last year, struck out 133, winning 13 games, was a consensus first-team All-American.
Well, there was talk around Tiger Camp that he would make the team. I think Jim Leland wanted him to make a team, but they're really looking after the fact that they want to look after their young arms. But Leland is a talent-oriented manager. He will take talent over experience anytime.
Listman hit by a pitch as Kerrigan came inside. Let's go to Kyle Peterson.
Thanks, Mike. I'm talking to Scott Forbes about Andrew Kerrigan on the mound today. I asked him how far can he go. He said, well, we don't think we want to take him any longer than 70 pitches. Oral mentioned earlier he's gone 4 innings twice this year. When I talked to Kerrigan before the ballgame, asked him how far he thought he could go, he said, well, I think I can go 4. And then he looked at me and smiled and said, at least 4. He said, if we need me, I can go further than that.
Well, right now they still need him. Of course, if he goes longer than 4, you pretty much get the idea he's toast for tomorrow, should there be a game 3. But you've got to get to tomorrow.
You'll do funny things when championships are involved. I went 7 innings against the Mets and came in relief the next day to get the save. I actually lied to Tommy Lasorda too to get there. I went down to
said, how you feeling?
Well, Gibson hit the home run in the 12th the next day, and I ran in and got my spikes on, went down to the bullpen and said, Cressy, Tommy got me up. Cressy didn't have time to call down and cross-check it. I warmed up. He called and told Tommy I was ready, and he goes, Bulldog, where is he? He goes, down here. How's he throwing? Great. All right, keep him hot. I came in and got Kevin McReynolds out for the last out.
Well, let me ask, any ramifications after that? Did you hurt yourself?
Well, I didn't hurt myself that year, but a year later, yeah, I had a little reconstructive surgery. I got 3 bone anchors in that shoulder, and they reconstructed my labrum, but fortunately came back from it. Dr. Frank Jobe did a great job.
Was that a result of your dedication to getting a save in that last game?
I don't know, but the capsule is something that can be stretched out, and they told me mine looked like a balloon with like a hernia.
That's not good.
No, that's why you play infield. That's why if you can play, if you're athletic and you can play another position, play another position. Not that pitchers aren't athletic, I said, but if you're athletic and can play another position,
you said
another you're doing a little moonwalking right now,
you said
big guy.
If you are athletic, meaning
and can play
if you're not,
another
you can be a pitcher.
In Bob Gibson's hometown, I wouldn't be getting on pitchers right now. He might be close by, and he'd have something to say about that.
Let's get down to Aaron Andrews. Aaron.
Mike, just to add on what you guys were talking about with Andrew Kerrigan, how long he can go. It's funny, during that last half inning, Pat Casey got his team together in the dugout and told them, look, let's continue to stay loose, and let's remember who we have on the mound right now. We're facing a closer. He can't go that long, so let's stretch it out. Let's make him tired out there. Pat Casey thinking a little different from what Mike Fox is saying. Andrew Kerrigan, too.
Well, the wheels are turning in both dugouts.
Well, if you try to see a lot of pitches against the starter to get the middle relievers so that the middle reliever can't set up the closer, if the closer's in this early, you're going to try and wear him down and see a few pitches also.
Pitch fouled back.
Tell you what, you got a closer on the mound throwing 94, and you're going up there and saying, listen, this might be my only opportunity to get a ball I can hammer, a ball that I can hit. So, you know, I don't know about these guys, but I didn't like hitting 0-2 or behind in the count with the guy that's got Kerrigan's kind of stuff.
So is that the kind of strategy that came from a manager and went in one ear, out the other?
Got to be realistic, you know. It sounds good. Propaganda's propaganda, man. When you're in there battling, you got to do what you got to do in order to be successful. And taking pitches against a guy that's got 95 and, you know, with a snapdragon and a tremendous slider, and that's just not practical.
How about bunting somebody with 95 like they were asking Darwin Barney right here?
Well, we saw Mitch Canham try to do it as well, and that's not easy to do either.
First and second, nobody out. The heart of the order, the heart of this ball club. As you get Listman, Canham, and Barney up, first 2 have reached, hit by a pitch and a base on balls. And John Wallace on deck.
Coincidence when Oklahoma State finally fell behind for the first time in the tournament, but no coincidence that the rally was started by Canham and Barney right away. Oregon State. Did I say Oklahoma?
Yes.
I'm getting tired.
We've been here a long time. Low.
2-1.
2 balls and a strike. Wooten is in the North Carolina bullpen. They have to go somewhere else than Kerrigan. He came on in the second.
Let's go. Come on. In the box.
Their concentration right now is let's get out of this inning and come up and hit again. Chopped up the middle, could be 2 to second for 1, on to first, double play. Turned very well by that North Carolina defense on a good opportunity to get 2, and they do.
A tailor-made double play right there. Darwin Barney hits a hard one hopper to the shortstop. Gore turned it very nicely. Double play, pitcher's best friend.
Listman gets to third, and one of the few times that Darwin Barney doesn't come through. And now they want to go out to talk to Kerrigan. I mean, they're walking a fine line here. Do they want to get him out and go to somebody else and perhaps have a chance at bringing him back tomorrow? Or do you just string him out here thinking he is your best chance to get 2 tomorrow? And he's going to stay.
I think it's a delicate balance, actually. I think Coach Mike Fox has so much confidence and respect for these guys that he's really going to probably let them tell him how they're feeling and what they think about the prospects of playing tomorrow. And if Kerrigan will, join the parade if they have an opportunity to play tomorrow, if he'll be able to come back tomorrow.
Wallace now with a runner at third and 2 out. Well, Tommy Lasorda listened to Oral. He had surgery the next couple of months.
Couple of years.
Fouled out of play.
Now something went on right there as far as the bunt, the signals, and might have looked through it, might have disregarded it.
Somebody missed something.
2-1.
And most of the times that situation, that was probably a bunt signal that was missed right there.
Line drive somewhere.
This one is lined to left, base hit, that'll get a run home. Wallace with the base hit. Frank was coming in from left and just couldn't get there. And it's 5-2.
Well, not trying to do too much with it, just placing it out there to left field. Little base hit, little RBI. Makes you feel a little better about the inning. Scratching that run off of Kerrigan.
Wallace drives in Listman, and it is now a 4-1 situation in favor of Oregon State with the win probability statistic. And the score 5-2, leaving it up to Sanchi with 2 outs and a runner on. So Kerrigan is touched, and there is a timeout. There was a ball call, but the home plate umpire overruled it, saying time had been called.
1 strike. Now here's a play.
Kerrigan still getting up there at 94 miles an hour, but that was well out of the strike zone.
Oh, what signs do you look for from Kerrigan now to say, okay, maybe this guy's getting a little tired and you can't. What do you look for from a pitcher?
Well, the ball, first of all, usually elevated. You know, that means that the legs might be getting tired, and what happens with the legs is the leg kick gets shorter, and the shorter the leg kick, then the arm path, that same arm path is late. So you can either say, okay, lift your leg higher, or take a shorter arm path. And every pitcher has a hump inning, usually, as far as fatigue comes in. And Kerrigan's not used to going through those hump innings when all of a sudden your energy levels change, because being a closer, most of his outings are within his full burst.
52 pitches so far for Andrew Kerrigan, the All-American closer. 53 is out of the strike zone, and it's 3-1 to Scott Sanchi out of Vancouver, Washington.
Well, it's important for Kerrigan to try and get through this inning. He might be able to squeak another inning out of himself. They come in, get a few runs, that gives him a little adrenaline. Mike Fox decides to leave him in, and that extra inning of getting a 0 out of him next inning could be huge in this game.
Strike call.
Well, he's on the bubble of coming out of the game right here. He gives up another hit or this inning spirals away from him. But it could be the difference between him finishing this inning or actually going another inning and a third.
He has 3 saves in the College World Series. This one's hit right back up the middle for a base hit. 3 saves in the series, 5 career in the College World Series. That's how successful he has been here, tying the record of the great Houston Street. Of course, this is not a save situation. He is on trying to save their lives as far as the College World Series. And this ball is a shot back up the box.
Yeah, he's lucky that that ball, I don't know if it hit him in the leg or not, but to see a two-seamer, it was a shot right back up the middle. Sanchi did a nice job of hitting right back up the middle. Very nice job right there. And, we start seeing some of the signs of him getting tired. Maybe a ball out over the plate.
Back-to-back singles for Wallace and Sanchi. Runners at first and third for Leonardton. He's 0 for 2, grounded into a double play and hit a fly ball to center field for an out. Still hitting .313 on the season.
Ball.
That one's outside. A ball and a strike. It is 5-2 Oregon State. Every time North Carolina makes even a little bit of a move, Oregon State has found a way to answer. And they've had the answer to everybody since the end of the regular season. A season in which they barely got into the field of 64. Had to go to UCLA in the final series of the year and win 2 out of 3. And they knew it in advance. If they weren't going to win 2 out of 3 at UCLA, they could expect to be at home, even as the defending champions. But the fact that they were the defenders and they had played such a great early season schedule helped them get in. They had a Pac-10 record of 10-14. Nobody has ever had a sub-500 record in their conference and won the College World Series. But then Oregon State has had a number of firsts in the last couple of years. And the Zestos milkshakes have arrived. 2-2. Fastball, sky to right. Deep but not deep enough into that sun field. And fighting it off is Fedorov to make the catch. So Kerrigan is out of it. And there's a little exchange of words between Oregon State and North Carolina as Kerrigan goes to the Dutch. This one down the left field line, and it clears the wall for a home run. Give me one shot at my life today. One shot at my life today. I don't want to be a stranger. A lot of smiling going on for the Beavers of Oregon State as they are up here in the bottom of the 5th. Here's our Coke Zero game track. 5-2 as we go to the bottom of the 5th for North Carolina at bat. Barney a 2-run home run. Stutz has gone 4, allowed 2 runs. Pekonen only went 1 2/3 and was roughed up early. Concentrating already. A Beaver baby with an eye on the field in the bottom of the 5th.
Let's go, Mike.
Fastball for a called strike to Josh Horton, the number 2 man in the order. 2-3-4 scheduled to hit here in the 5th for the Heels. They have to win today to force the rubber game tomorrow. Horton has 2 singles and is now 10 for 25 in the College World Series. Wastes a breaking ball outside.
That's Mike Stutz' 75th pitch. It's a lot of pitches for somebody who's only struck out 4 people. Still only has recorded 4 innings of outs.
In the air to left center. Twisting toward the left fielder. Wallace makes the catch. Kyle, at the end of last inning, there was a confrontation between the Pitcher in the third base coach, a little war of words, huh?
Yeah, just a little bit. We talked about it earlier. I think for this entire Carolina team right now, you're seeing an Oregon State team that plays a different style of baseball. You talk about the West Coast offense in football. This is kind of the West Coast offense and defense in baseball. They slow things down. They try to really get the other team off of their game, and to some extent it's happened. I think what's key there, though,
as this ball is hit high and deep to right, back, and it's gone. Dustin Ackley turned on one and ripped it into the stands. It's 5-3. Ackley wasted no time. He's 2 for 2 tonight. What a great swing on this kid.
He does have an absolutely fantastic swing. As we talked a little earlier, he was struggling a little early, went to the cages, talked to Mike Fox, and made a couple of adjustments, just keeping his front side in and letting that bat head get to the ball. Very little wasted motion. Really nice swing.
FEDEROWICZ stands in. He has a sacrifice and a fielder's choice driving in a run, but still only 2 hits in Omaha in 24 trips. One out in the 5th. They have closed the gap to 2. Fouled off the catcher's mask. 2 balls and a strike. Fedorov is on deck. Sounds like the Russian national team. You've got FEDEROWICZ, then Fedorov.
It's the scoring line.
That's center in the left wing. Curveball got him. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, Mike Stutz is battling out there. He had a so-so outing against Arizona State and garnered a win today. He's really battling through this one too. He's fought control problems. He's been almost effectively wild. But remember, every Oregon State starter has gone 6+ innings in this championship. So they have got some starting pitching. Even if it doesn't with their best stuff, they've battled through.
FEDEROWICZ spoiled that last one to stay alive at 2-2. Kerrigan still doesn't look happy on the Tar Heel bench. Breaking pitch hit towards short. Barney gobbles up another one and throws him out. Kyle, let's finish your observations about that confrontation.
You know, when Kerrigan got in the dugout, you saw a distinct change in this dugout, because for once in the last 3 innings, they were fired up. It just seemed like every time that hitters had come up in big spots and guys would not come through with that double that you guys have talked about in the booth, a little bit more air came out of this dugout. When Kerrigan kind of got into it on the way off the field, the entire feeling in this dugout changed. I think it's one of the things they needed, because this dugout has been silent for the last 3 innings.
Well, obviously they need something, and they should have gotten a little boost from Ackley's shot. That always gives you hope.
Certainly it does, but that's the reason Mike Fox put Kerrigan in the game. You know, you're looking for someone to spark this club. There is no tomorrow. If you don't spark the club today, then it's not going to happen tomorrow. So, I mean, you know, Andrew Kerrigan, in my opinion, has done the job. He's obviously done it for him at the end of the game, but his job was to fire up the forces, and that's what he's done.
Now they need some offense to continue that. A called strike on Fedorov.
What is it about emotion, Barry, that all of a sudden gets an offense going?
Well, you know, everybody you're out there grinding. Of course you're grinding, but, you know, I think it's about we talked about winning every single pitch. And, you know, you kind of have to really focus on.
As Fedorov singles to right.
You have to focus on every single pitch. And, you know, during the course of the game, if you're losing a little bit and maybe you're getting beaten, you're starting to feel sorry for yourself a little bit, then all of a sudden it's not every single pitch, it's every at-bat or every out. Well, when the emotions come back in, you refocus and you say, hey, listen, you know, I don't care. He is not going to beat me on any pitch. That means even if I'm going to take a ball, then I'm going to take it in a position where I could have hit it. Or if I'm going to make a play, I'm going to make that play as best I can. It's just focus.
Here's Seth Williams, who was tied for second on the club with 9 home runs, has driven in 42, hasn't shown much out here except for 1 home run. Only 4 hits in 22 at-bats, 2 fly ball outs today. And his season's average has dropped to 290.
You know, I love hearing Barry talk about the emotion of the game and what it changes in a dugout, because big league players get picked on so much about concentration. You know, if you make that much money, you should be concentrating every pitch, but they're still human beings.
Well, money has really nothing to do with it. It's your personality. I mean, why should a guy that gets paid $5 million be expected to concentrate more than a guy who makes $500,000? They both need to be in the ball game as much as possible.
Well, and it equates to this game too, because, you know, how could you say Carolina wasn't concentrating or wasn't emotionally into it? This is the championship game for them. They could be eliminated.
You know, it's always it's about the individual. Norrell talked about it. It's about the individual, and it's, you know, it's kind of a pride thing. Regardless if you're making any money or not making money, every time you put on a uniform, you know, you're representing, of course, the name on that uniform, but you're representing yourself. So it's a pride factor when you go out there.
3-1 to Williams. That's inside, ball 4. They were running on 3-1. Fedorov is into second. Tying runs are aboard. Gerbovac heating up again in the Oregon State bullpen, and here comes Dan Spencer, the pitching coach and associate head coach, to come out and talk to Stutz, who's now thrown 92 pitches through 4 2/3. Of course, one thing pitchers really want to do is go 5. You don't get the win without 5. And pitching coaches love to let them go 5 if they can.
But in a situation like this, where it's not really about statistics, it's about the ring, every inning will be like the 9th inning for Oregon State.
And Stutz will stay on with 2 out and 2 on for Kyle Seager, the DH, who singled his last time up. He's 1 for 2. Kid with gap power who hits well to all fields. 1 ball, no strikes. And the sun almost a non-factor now, just barely affecting line drives in right field.
This is that rally that North Carolina has not finished off. This one started late with 2 outs, but this is the key hit that they've been looking for a long time.
Strike called. Well, Orel, you're right. They had the rally in the first, resulted in only 1 run. They had the rally in the third, resulted in only 1 run. They have a rally here after the solo home run from Ackley, and they've got to push something across. A big inning is a key for them to stay alive here. 2 balls and a strike. Boy, you just know Stutz is on the shortest of leashes right now.
There's a lot of hope in his pitches right now. He's not really attacking and saying, I'm going to get you out. He's hoping to get the hitters out. You can tell that he is kind of lost out there when he cannot see that his catcher's trying to hold him up. The umpire has stepped out, the hitter's gone, and he's still going to deliver a pitch.
Maxwell, the left-hander, has joined Gerbovac again. Down to first. Leonardton will make the play unassisted. They're out of another jam. We've played on ESPN by Dick's Sporting Goods here in Omaha. Over on ESPN at Sunday Night Baseball. An inning tonight has gone 3 1/3, allowed 2 runs. And the 2 runs, the margin in this game, it's 5-3. Leckel will lead it off in the Oregon State 6th. If they win back-to-back NCAA championships. In a year where anyone outside of Corvallis did not expect them to be any kind of a contender for a national championship. And that one hits Leckel.
This pitch from Kerrigan right here. Now that's a ball up and in. That's 93, 94 miles an hour. You have very little chance, but you see him actually turn away from the pitch. Other pitches that have been a little more over the plate, we've seen a guy actually keep his elbow out there and not even make an attempt to move away.
Or move it a little further out. See guys actually roll into the strike zone. Now Chris Hopkins. Good bunter until that one pops it straight up, and Ackley comes in from first base to make the play. So a failed sacrifice in Oregon State for one of the rare times does not execute.
Well, when a guy throws 94, 95 miles an hour, it is very difficult to bunt the ball, especially if the technique is not there. And that particular time, the hands were above the barrel of the bat, and the ball just went straight up in the air. Got to get that barrel of the bat above the hands and out in fair territory to force that ball down.
Now Joey Wong with a runner at first, 1 out. We're in the Oregon State 6th inning. I want to thank our producer Scott Matthews and our director Scott Johnson for a brilliant job that they have done out here for nearly 2 weeks. And our crew, which just, you don't know how hard these men and women work. It is a grind, but they love it, and that's why they're so good at it. And our hats are off to these people. Way to go, Kent. Outside and high.
I don't think North Carolina would like you to be thanking our staff. They want them to come back tomorrow.
Oh, well, this is a precaution. And most of these men and women have been coming out here for years. Sign up early, hope to be here. They're rewarded for their great work by getting an opportunity to come back year after year. And we just can't thank them enough as Joey Wong gets a base hit, or gets a base on balls. Paul and Karen Griego, who have been great hosts to us throughout the years. Wonderful baseball fans. And this may be it for Kerrigan. Asking a lot of a guy to come out of the bullpen when he's used to coming in throwing between 1/3 of an inning and maybe 1+ to go a long way in this pressure-packed situation. He's already equaled the longest outing of his career. And there's the signal. Kerrigan will be done. And you get the feeling if there is a game 3, he would be available for that one as well. So they're going to take him out now while he's still got something left. Will be Rob Wooten, who is setting a College World Series record with his 6th appearance here in Omaha and his 47th for North Carolina. That is also a record. And until yesterday, he had pitched in every NCAA tournament game this year. Guys put up some sparkling numbers too.
A sinker slider. He's got a little split change. He is a workhorse. See that mouth guard in there he's using.
Listman pops it up. 2 outs. Kerrigan done. Closer came on, gave up a couple of runs out of the bullpen. 3 2/3. 4 hits, a couple of runs, struck out 2 and walked 3. Not his sharpest outing, but then under unusual circumstances.
Well, he's been pitching a lot lately, but the thing that he did do is come in and say, listen, guys, we are not finished. You know, we still have an opportunity. We still have a fight in us, and he showed some fight when he was coming off the mound that last inning, yelling at the third base coach about whatever it is they were going back and forth about. So, you know, his job as a leader on this team is to incite the guys and, you know, set the precedent and set the standard. He's done that quite well.
You just saw a glimpse of Woodard warming up in the Carolina bullpen, one of their outstanding starters. So they'll go as deep in that pen as they need to try to force a game 3. Canham singled twice and walked tonight.
Well, this is a huge at bat right here because 2 runs is nothing for the Carolina offense. But if Canham can get a big hit and score 2 here, even pop one out of here, all of a sudden the game gets out of reach again. So.
That one's high and away. Canham could have gone to into professional baseball a year ago. He was draft eligible as a sophomore. But he had thoughts of coming back as well, and when negotiations over what he thought he should get and what the major league clubs were willing to offer, he decided, I'll just come back and try to win another one and lead these young kids. And lo and behold, here he is in the College World Series with a chance to get a 2nd ring.
You know, he's really appreciative of the things that he's been given at Oregon State, you know, with all the problems that he had, the personal tragedy that he had.
Exactly.
And, you know, Coach Casey is really taking him under his wing, and, you know, this is just his way of giving back.
Struck him out. Canham is gone, and the inning is over. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. North Carolina fighting for its very baseball life. Down by 2, and Kerrigan cheering them on.
Mike Stutes out on the mound for Oregon State. He said the reasons why these next 2 hitters in Chad Flatt and Garrett Gore, he said they're 0 for 4 against Stutes so far tonight. He said he still thinks he's throwing good stuff, but like Mike mentioned earlier, he's on a very short leash. Hey guys, how are those milkshakes up there, huh?
Those are delicious, Aaron. You can have what's left. We'll send that down. Be fine. You don't look like you've ever had a milkshake, Aaron. Bottom of the 6th, time starting to get short for North Carolina, and the screws will start to tighten a little bit. Flack, Gore, and Frank to hit here in the Tar Heels 6th.
You know, North Carolina has consistently played from behind this entire postseason. We saw it even in their regional tournament. But you know, when you get to the late 3rd of the game like we are right now, people have a tendency to kind of try a little harder, and when you do try a little harder, it is so much tougher to be successful.
The grip on the bat gets a little tighter. Swing gets a little slower.
That's right.
Because of that.
Yep.
Flack 0 for 2 and fooled by that pitch and goes down swinging.
This is a sharp breaking ball. Stutes does a nice job getting on top. We've seen a lot of breaking balls of his get flat, but right now he's made a nice adjustment, getting that spin going a little bit more. 12-6 on the clock.
Garrett Gore, who has been a strikeout victim twice tonight, stands in.
You know, that's something that Earl just talked about. He's talked about that nice breaking ball. That particular breaking ball right there, in my opinion, is called what we call, as non-pitchers, we call that a finisher. You know, he threw that breaking ball, as did he threw that breaking ball with 2 strikes that starts in the strike zone and breaks out of the strike zone. So tempting, with 2 strikes, you can't let it go. And then by the time you commit to swinging, it's out of the strike zone.
Stoots with 102 pitches, and this ball is smoked to the gap in right center field. Over Federowicz head, Gore wheels into second with a stand-up double. Well, Garrett Gore got all of that one. Here's the number 9 hitter, a kid with not much power, and he gave that one a ride to the opposite field.
You see a fastball just down. And Garrett Gore does a nice job of inside out in that ball. And they didn't expect him to hit it that deeply. See, Sanchi didn't think he was going to be able to drive that ball over his head, but he surely did.
Dan Spencer on his way out. We'll check on the pitching change when we come back to Omaha. It's a 2-run game.
Since 1989, Coca
in Major League Baseball.
Little cultural difference. Pitcher to pitcher instead of pitcher to manager, manager to pitcher. Possibly to kind of remove the emotions that are running through these young men's bodies when they get taken out of a game.
Well, I don't know about these. Yeah, I don't know about these young men, but I've seen Lou Piniella come to the mound with Norm Charlton or Rob Dibble or Randy Myers, the nasty boys, out there on the mound and ask for that ball, and they almost knocked his arm off giving them the ball. They were so mad that they took him out. So I think there's definitely some reason why they are not handing that ball to that manager.
Maxwell will come on for Stoots. Maxwell hasn't been in a ball game since June 2nd. 5'9", 180-pound senior, and he'll face Reed Frank.
North Carolina has had a base runner in every inning but one, the second. But they still only have 3 runs.
Frank has walked, been hit by a pitch, and struck out. He represents the potential tying run. Maxwell misses outside. Lefty against lefty in this situation. And plenty of arms ready in that Oregon State bullpen. Got a fastball in on him at 88. The fundamentals of getting big hits is something the Heels have been unable to do. 3 for their last 31 with runners in scoring position. That's under 100 for a batting average in those clutch situations. This one hit in the air down the left field line, twisting foul into the seats.
Less than 100, but they are in the championship series. You know, these guys, you know, a testament to their resiliency. They have struggled in situations, and Coach Mike Fox said that they really do work on these things. It just so happens that right now it's not happening for them, but they have been able to put a couple of semi-rallies together, hit the long ball in order to put themselves in this situation. Hey, they're one swing away from tying up this ball.
Exactly. That's the beauty of baseball. They're 2 base hits away from taking the lead by getting 2 hits in the clutch situation. Even after all those struggles. What does the win probability say now? It was 80-20. Now it's down to 70-30. As the Heels cut a 3-run lead to 2, have a runner in scoring position here with 1 out. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Frank.
Would that be down to 70-30 or up?
Down.
I guess it's which side you're looking at it from, right?
Good point. Fouled out of play again. Up for North Carolina, that's down right. For Oregon State.
Right, that's right.
Frank takes a big breath. Mike Fox in this situation last year when he had the hammer. Won the first game and then saw Oregon State come back to take the next 2. Now he's trying to do the same thing to the Beavers. In the air. Straightaway right. Sanchi makes the catch. Gore tags and will make it to third easily. But 2 out. So once again, no hits in a clutch situation. And now it's up to Horton here in the bottom of the 6th with 2 outs.
Every at bat, every pitch becomes has a little more intensity to it. That's why it's so important to be able to cash in on these little runs right here. You know, it's now unfortunately there's 2 outs and you don't have an opportunity just to hit a ground ball or just touch the ball in order to drive this run in. You know, those situations early in the ball game can come up to hurt you later in the ball game.
Well, as a ball player, no matter how optimistic you are, if your team is 3 for 32 and he hit him, if your team is 3 for 32 in clutch situations, people that don't have a bat in their hands, and even the guys that are hitting, are sitting there saying, well, how are we going to mess this up? You know, what are we going to do to kill this route?
Well, last inning they had a 2-out home run, and they got first and second 2 out, failed to get the hit. Little ground ball to first base, ended the inning. Here again, 2 out, first and third. Left-handed hitter up. Now with that hole at first base because of the runner at first, even a larger opportunity to score with 2 outs.
Maxwell, the left-hander, staying on to pitch to Ackley, who homered his last time up. If he could do it again, North Carolina would grab the lead. So many times, no hits with runners in scoring position. Can the freshman All-American, the guy with an unbelievable future in front of him, come through again? That's FEDEROWICZ on deck. But Ackley is the key guy. You just get the feeling it's up to him. Low fastball. Last time up, smoked it.
Very little weights. They're very little. Very little movement in his swing. Just very efficient right to the ball. He's in a very good count right now. He's seen some good pitches.
2-0. Line, but caught right at John Wallace in left. Ackley hit it on the nose. But Carolina's rally is wasted again. End of 6, 2-run ball game. Oregon State trying to win back-to-back national championships. Barney's 2-run homer is the difference in this ball game. First time up, a line drive to left. Here's that at bat. Smoked it and got it over that left field wall by a couple of feet. Only his 5th home run of the year.
Darwin Barney, we talked about it before. He's a guy that can change the game and has changed the game with his glove and chipping in on the offensive end.
Breaking ball got him. Wooten with a strikeout. Let's go to Scott Reese. He has a SportsCenter 30 at 30.
All right, Mike, former All-Star reliever Rod Beck was found dead yesterday at his suburban Phoenix home. No word on the cause of death, but foul play is not suspected. Beck with 286 career saves. He was just 38 years old. On the field today, Frank Thomas hit career home run number 499. In the same game, Dustin McGowan took a no-hitter into the 9th inning and finished with a 1-hit shutout of the Rockies. Details on SportsCenter, ESPN after Tigers Braves, and stay current with ESPN News.
Thank you, Scott. Was watching the updates on McGowan's bid for a no-hitter. I think everybody loves to see, even the home team, that, you know, the visiting team, everybody is excited about a guy with a chance for a no-hitter or a perfect game. You just love to see people accomplish the unusual, and baseball is such a great stage for it.
Yeah, were you there in Cincinnati when Tom Browning had his? Yes. Were you playing shortstop for that one?
Yes, I was. That's the perfect game.
Perfect game,
yes, it was a perfect game.
Oh, that was against the Dodgers?
Yeah, it was against the Dodgers. Belcher.
This ball down in the corner and off the wall, and it gets away from Federer. Wallace Lewis is on his way to third with a triple. Fedorov went back to get it, could not field it coming off the wall, and Fedorov smoked that one off of Rob Wooten.
Wallace gets a pitch in a little bit and bangs it off that right field wall. And you see, was it a breaking ball? And you can see him when he sees that ball off the wall, he's thinking 3 bags. And he can run pretty good right there.
It's his third triple of the year. 2 of them have come at the College World Series. Triples are lots of fun, but they're lots of work too. You're a little gassed when you get to third.
Gets it.
Now Wooten, his job is to prevent that guy from getting in from third with only 1 out, and he's facing Sanchi. The infield comes in to cut off the run.
You got to take a shot right here to try and strike him out with an 0-2 count.
Oh.
Tries a fastball outside, missed.
Or as a pitcher, or are you trying to do something different with the ball when the infielder's in as opposed to regular when the infield's back in this situation?
Chopped over the head of the second baseman, Garrett Gore. And that's where having the infield in can get you in trouble. A routine ground ball that otherwise is an easy out, goes for a base hit and drives in a run.
Well, he got what he wanted. He got the ground ball. He kept the ball down. Got him to top it, but he topped it a little too strongly off the dirt there. Whoa, I think it hit the seam between the grass and the dirt to get that kind of kick. Because that wasn't chopped right in front of the plate. That's a big run nonetheless for Oregon State.
6-3, and Leonardton comes up.
Oh.
Every run makes it just that much tougher for North Carolina to mount a comeback, especially considering the problems they have had with getting hits in the clutch. And the win probability has leaped to 9-1. Nice bunt down the third baseline. Pitcher throws it away. Wooten throws it into right field. Runners at second and third. And at critical times, the North Carolina pitchers have been their own worst enemies. That's 3 of those plays in 2 nights.
Tyler Trice threw a couple balls away yesterday. Gets off the mound real well on this bunt. Really doesn't have plenty of time, but it's still a routine play. It just launches that. That was bad footwork as far as his weight shift. He didn't crow hop towards first base. He just kind of eased into picking up the ball. He should have hustled a little farther and then had some momentum on his throw, but he hung back on that back leg and threw it into right field.
And those are the small fundamental things. I mean, you talk about a ball that rolls 15 feet. And, you know, it changes everything. If you can't make that play and you consistently don't make that play, you're putting too much pressure on your team.
Well, that's what we mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, that North Carolina's downfall when they have not played well here in Omaha has been the fundamentals. We saw it again tonight. They don't sacrifice well. They don't bunt well as a team. They have not hit well in clutch situations, and they have not made the routine plays you got to make.
Yeah, they haven't manufactured runs. They've had guys on base, but they have not been able to move the guys over and just touch the ball in situations when there's a man in scoring position. It's been the way they've hit the way they've scored is by hitting a home run, and eventually you're going to cool down. You're not going to get that home run every time, but you can touch the ball every time when there's a man on third base if the infield is back. You know, those simple fundamental things make huge difference in the ball game.
You probably saw Scott Forbes, the pitching coach, tap Rob Wooten on the chest and say, "You okay?" And Wooten says, "Yeah, I am. I'm ready to go." This guy's a veteran pitcher and a really good one. He's in a huge jam now.
Big jam, and made a huge impact on their program for the 3 years he's been there.
Oh.
Leonardton on at second. Sanchi is at third, and Leckelt, the number 9 hitter, still looking for his first hit tonight, and is 4 for 16 in the College World Series, hitting .250. Strike called on a breaking pitch.
21.
Leckelt hit with a runner on third and less than 2 outs earlier in the game.
Brooms
Back
are out.
in the second inning.
Brooms are out.
Yeah.
OSU looking for the sweep. Bunt out in front. Not a suicide squeeze, and that time Wooten left no doubt, picked it up and rifled a strike to the first baseman. That's the second out.
Go, Hobby.
I think that's a missed squeeze signed by the runner or something. It's like, where's the runner?
Yeah.
Got the bunt down.
Well, it was not a suicide squeeze.
Yeah.
You get the feeling that it was supposed to be.
Well, there was a cross up when BARNEY hit earlier.
Yes.
Reaction. Now we've got a cross up at another signal right there.
And Leckelt is saying, I saw the squeeze sign. I did my part, didn't I?
I tell you, I'm telling you, man, when the game gets down to the end like this and the championship is on the line, it becomes so much tougher to do the things that you've just taken for granted throughout the season.
Little check swing back up the middle. Gore behind second. Can't make a play.
Actually, the first baseman wasn't there in order for Gore to throw the ball. It actually came in.
Became a spectator.
And I don't know what happened, but it looked like he came in like it was almost a bunt opportunity. And Garrett Gore made a great play to catch the ball behind the mound. He went to go throw the ball to first base, and there was nobody there.
Sometimes your mind just freezes.
And remember, Ackley was an outfielder before this year started, ended up with a sore arm. They had to move him into first base, and they said he's gotten comfortable, but he came a little bit of a spectator there and got too far away from the bag.
I tell you what I think happened there. I think he thought that ball was going to go to center field, and he's the cutoff man to home plate. So it looked like he was running to be the cutoff man, and then he saw that the second baseman caught it, so he got caught in between.
That's exactly what he was doing. But then he wasn't at first base, and they're probably lucky that Gore didn't throw it in the dugout.
That's right.
Holy cow. Talk about fundamentals. It is just coming apart. Hit toward the alley and speared. What a catch by Williams. Holy cow. Seth Williams on the dead run backhands it and saves another couple of runs. This ball was crushed. What a catch by Seth Williams in center field to Rob Hopkins. He hit it like a bullet. What an inning. It is 7-3 Oregon State. Let's go down to Aaron Andrews.
Well, Mike, Mitch Canham has played in the last 3 College World Series. Unfortunately, his mother never had the opportunity to see him play here. But this year, for the very first time, his grandparents made the trip from Oregon to Omaha, not only to watch their grandson play, but to remember his mother.
My freshman year of college, I lost my mom to a drug overdose.
Kimmy Lee Canham. She was a very wonderful person. She was an outgoing person, like her son. We were all devastated by it. There's still a big hole in our lives because she's not there, and we all miss her. And it just, you know, it's one of the things you have to get through because it happened.
And since then, it's you know, it's been a challenge for me to focus on baseball and stuff. But you know what? At first it was a challenge, but now I've learned to grow from it and to use it to help other people avoid situations that are going to lead down drug addiction and abuse like that. So this is the first year my grandparents are going to make it out from my mom's side. They didn't make it last year because it was a little emotional for them.
I'm extremely proud of him. He took something that was bad and turned it really good for himself. He's done a lot of help for other individuals by going out and talking about this. got a big future ahead of him. I'm looking forward to watching him for many years to come.
All of us face tragedies in life, and it's not so much how much you withdraw within yourself as how much you give to other people in reaction to those tragedies and what you do with the opportunities they may present. And obviously this kid has done the best he possibly could.
Mitch Canham, when I went up to Oregon, I was talking to the guys about Mitch Canham, and he said he did have that personal tragedy, and he's used it as opportunities to talk to kids about drug abuse. There's a lot of outreach programs he's very much involved with. So he's just a wonderful guy, a great baseball player, but a guy that's taking a personal tragedy and making something positive out of it.
Yeah, he's somebody you just want to root for him, you know, heart and soul for to have a great life. Cavassini will be the pinch hitter against Gerbovac, who is on for the 28th time this year. Another good ERA on this Oregon State staff, 2.36. This is as deep a pitching as you can find, isn't it?
They will keep coming at you.
Cavassini, who had a great College World Series a year ago for North Carolina, has had an eye injury this year, been limited to pinch hitting duty, pinch running duty, and play in center field. Can't get around on a fastball there at 90 from Gerbovac. North Carolina errors 4 against OSU in 2 games have led to 5 unearned runs. And if they lose, that will be the difference. Their inability to get them home in clutch situations and their inability to make routine plays at times. They have left 9 on through 6 innings tonight. Cavassini chops it down to first. 1 gone. It's unusual to see that Pat Casey, 2 out of the last 3 innings, upset about fundamental errors on part of his club, because they live and die by that. If they don't get the fundamentals done, they're toast.
Yeah, definitely. They, you know, but I tell you what, I mean, I think that was a kind of communication, a couple of missed signs here and there. You know, they're still putting the bat on the ball. They're still, you know, doing the small things for the most part to put themselves in the position to win. And listen, they're in the driver's seat. You know, they have the latitude to be able to make or be able to deal with a couple of mistakes. You know, they're winning 7-3. Now, if you're losing 7-3, every single mistake just becomes a huge mistake.
Chopped up the middle and through into center field. It is so hard to repeat. Texas lost in the regional last year. The 04 champion Cal State Fullerton made it to the super regional but lost. Rice lost in the regional after the 03 championship, and Texas got to the College World Series but lost in the semifinals to Rice. And with more and more baseball programs having success and spreading out the talent, more teams get back here, and it's even tougher to repeat. And especially if you're Oregon State, it's still a remarkable story. The Bruce brothers, LSU, came in here and hammered balls to win it 96-97. Stanford had back-to-back. USC 70, 71, 72, 73, 74. Our buddy Fred Lynn right in the middle of that.
That was Coach Rod Dato.
Yes, it was.
Pretty amazing program at that time.
The great gentleman we lost a year ago. His son Terry still comes out here every year. That one's fouled at the plate. North Carolina down by 4 here in the 7th. Or we talked to North Carolina. They said last year when they were in the driver's seat in this position in the middle of game 2, they started counting outs. They thought they had it. And it's a natural process for your mind to go to that, to think, All we need is this many, and we win a national championship. Oregon State right now, their mindset, they've got to avoid that.
Well, you do. It's the difference between concentrating on results and execution, and you really can get in trouble when you start thinking about being the hero or the GOAT or what you need to do. As far as the results are concerned, you've got to think about keeping the ball down as a pitcher, putting a good at bat on him as a batter. How many outs? Where do I need to throw the ball after I pick this up as an infielder?
You know, baseball, in order to be successful as a baseball player, you have to be able to anticipate. I think the guys that are in situations where they're successful are the guys that understand the game, understand what's about to come forth. So, you know, of course, you know, playing at this particular level, but when you go to the next level, you know, you don't start counting outs. You understand that, hey, I've got to continue to execute every single pitch, every single batter, and I've got to expect that every ball is going to be hit to me. You know, sometimes guys are out there, and as Oral talked about, they're only worried about the results and the bigger picture. Hey, we're going to win a championship. Well, how are we going to get there? And I want it to be me. That's right.
3-2.
The higher you get up,
and 2 strikes.
The higher you get up in this game, the more times you compete against somebody who has the same exact ability as you do. And then the differences in winning and losing, or breaking, you know, getting a hit or getting a guy out, is concentration.
3-2 to Williams. Smoked. Fair ball down the left field line. Fedorov on his way to third. They're going to wave him home. Here's the throw to the plate. He is out. On one hand, I'm surprised they sent him. On the other hand, I'm not. They needed to score. They don't get the big hits. This was one a chance to get it home.
Well, they get the big hit, and it's a great relay. You've got to take your hat off to Oregon State. Darwin Barney makes an unbelievable throw. Mitch hangs in there for the relay. But remember, Mike Fox, the head coach, is the third base coach. He is there because he doesn't want to put this pressure on any of his assistants. He wants to make the call. And with 1 out, down 7-3, I think it was the wrong call.
What a relay from Darwin Barney.
And we talked about this guy being able to change the game from the defensive end, and this is just another situation. Of course, you know, he had some help. Wallace gets the ball into him. Very nice job down the line, but here you go. Strong arm, absolutely accurate, and Canham staying right there and just catching the ball and applying the tag. These guys just fundamentally sound, just doing the small things, and those are the things that make the difference in the ball game.
Canham did a great job. The throw was a little bit to the foul ball side of home plate. He had his right foot right on the baseline. Yeah, that was pretty.
The more I watch Darwin Barney play, the more I see Derek Jeter out there. And I'm sorry, Barry, I'm sitting next to you. But just the guy that's playing currently, somebody that doesn't really have power but can hit for power. You know, doesn't have the strongest of arms but knows how to use the arm he has. You know, is very good with his feet and gets in great position and anticipates the game. He's got a great clock for the game. And then the smile, something that you can put on, you know, down there and mark it like you can in New York. It's amazing. It's a 4th rounder for the Cubs. It's a good shot.
Strike called to Seager. And if North Carolina was down a little bit before that play, they got to be way down now.
It's amazing, on one play you can go from you know, the
Yes.
top of the mountain to the bottom of the valley. It's just amazing, the swings, the emotional swing.
Struck him out. A single and a double in the inning and nothing to show for it. Great relay. Great tag. Good night.
What if
for our Coke Zero game track? Tremendous defensive play by Darwin Barney and Wallace in left field as well. And it's 7-3 as we go to the 8th. Barney also has that 2-run homer. Stutz went 5 1/3 for Oregon State. He stands to be the winner. Let's go to Kyle Peterson.
Thanks, Mike. Just talked to Mike Fox, and you just see the look on his face, and it's kind of a look on everybody in this Tar Heel dugout's face right now, just trying to make something happen on that last play. He said, listen, I'll take that one. That one's on me. Looked down the line, thought that we had a little bit better chance, and in the end we did, but he said all of the blame falls on me on that one, and you could just see as you walk up and down this dugout that just not quite sure if they can come back off the canvas again. They just had the wind knocked out of them so many different times today.
We'll go back and think about what would have happened if the run scores. It's a 3-run game. They got a runner at second. The momentum may be going their way. One less out. The emotion starts to get up in the dugout. Instead, it's a stake right in your chest. Mark Fleury is in to catch. In place of FEDEROWICZ.
2-1.
Well, last night they had winter aid in the dugout. Tonight, sweep and sour sauce. Doesn't sound too appetizing. The thought's great, but I'm not sure it's a great marketing ploy.
I don't know if I'd be drinking that right there.
2-2.
Oh. 2-2. Breaking ball hangs high. Joey Wong with a chance to hit here in the 8th. That got him on a curveball that did get in the zone. One gone in the 8th for Oregon State. Excuse me, that was Listman, not Wong.
This middle of the order has been outstanding right here, 4 through 7. 9 for 13 tonight. That includes Mitch Canham, Darwin Barney, John Wallace, Scott Sanchi.
That looked pretty good last time.
Darwin right there, looking forward to his at-bat.
He just can't stop smiling, can he? Got another pitching change for North Carolina. Woodard will come on for the Heels here in the 8th. Series 8th inning. Oregon State batting here in the 8th, leading by 4. And a new pitcher on, Robert Woodard, the senior from Charlotte, North Carolina, the all-time career leader in wins for the Tar Heels of North Carolina. Oral 11-2 this year.
He's a solid young man. He loves to compete. He's a strike thrower with good movement. You look at that face right there. He doesn't care what the scoreboard says. It's about getting outs right now. Somebody else is going to have to take care of the offense.
Canham and Darwin Barney, the 2 stars of this ball club, are next. Woodard's got that unusual delivery. He takes that first step, and it's so fast, you would think it would be very difficult mechanically to stay in any kind of rhythm. But he's really good with it.
Well, the one thing he does, Mike, is that even though it's a very abrupt step back, he leaves his head at home. His head stays over the ball at his feet, so it really doesn't change his balance. If he would take his head with him, then it would throw him out of whack, and it would take a lot of athletic ability to keep your balance and your athleticism to throw strikes.
Skied on the infield, and now drifting out toward the left fielder, Reed Franck, who will make the catch. And our sincerest thoughts and prayers for Erica Menard, a very valuable member of our crew. She lost her stepfather, Kendall Kucera, earlier in the week. Erica, we are thinking about you and your family, and we wish you nothing but the best. Our thoughts and our prayers are with you. Barney takes up and in.
Barry, when you're hitting off somebody with this kind of delivery, you just kind of nullify the leg kick and look for where the ball comes out?
Yeah, you definitely have to take that out. It's much like hitting against a guy like Hideo Nomo, who has such a delay in his...
Is it a catch in left field? It is not. It is a base hit. Reed Frank took a couple of false steps back. I think one umpire called him out. The left field umpire called him safe. Frank starts back, then sprints in. And he trapped him on the short hop.
Good call by the umpire there. Just doesn't get there, doesn't quite get there.
Rarely do you see a ball go into a glove that way, too. Usually that's a complete miss. It just caught the thumb of the glove and went into the webbing.
Because his glove was up instead of down.
Yeah, usually you see the outfielder come in and the webbing kind of gets turned under and the ball hits the ground and goes into the glove facing up. That one, the glove was still facing up and the ball just kind of caught the thumb.
The ball caught the glove.
Yeah.
Second hit of the night for Darwin Barney.
When you're hitting against a guy like Robert Woodard, you know, he has something different in his windup. You definitely don't want to look at that particular part of it because that throws you off. And I'm sure that's why he does it. Well, probably to help his mechanics. But you know, as a hitter, you're thinking the pitcher out there is out there trying to disrupt your momentum. So as a hitter, if someone has something a little quirky that they do, you nullify that by not even looking at it. I remember there are times when I was facing Hideo Nomo and he'd go through his windup and I start looking at the second baseman and start to pick him up when he's about to deliver the ball to the plate.
Of course, he doesn't have that advantage out of the stretch.
I have to watch Barry's eyes if he ever makes a comeback and start having my second baseman do a really funky leg kick.
Well, you won't have to worry about that part.
The coming back.
Yeah, that coming back part. You know, over 50 league or something.
I think that train may have left the station for both of you guys.
Yeah, it was time for me to go, and I'm glad I made the decision. And you know, it was just time to go. Body said, you know what, it's time to go.
Well, you certainly had multiple opportunities as this ball is lofted to deep right and caught on the run. Fedorowicz with a sensational play in right that saves another run. So North Carolina trying to get it done in the field. What they need is some big at-bats. They only have 6 outs left to stay alive in the College World Series.
That's something we established early on once we all got here to Oregon State in the fall, is that, you know, we're not a team, we're a family. It's pretty special to bring everyone together and, you know, create that family atmosphere and that trust.
There's one thing to pay lip service to it. There's another thing to live it, and they certainly have as a family. I mean, we've all been in situations where people referred to it as family, but then Uncle Joe would have to eat Thanksgiving dinner out on the porch because we didn't like him nearly as much.
Well, embrace it and really enjoy it, because things change a little bit once you start getting paid to do it. You know, I mean, you still have some good buddies on your team, but I mean, a lot of transactions, a lot of guys moving in and out, and people are playing for their livelihood now, so it changes things a little.
Chad Flack goes down swinging. Here's Aaron.
Well, Mike, the talk in Oregon State's dugout right now, 5 outs until Corvallis, but that also means 5 outs until they say goodbye to guys like Mitch Canham and Darwin Barney. And Darwin told me before the game today he actually started thinking about it this morning. He said it was weird that he's not going to be back next year. He told me he never had friendships like this before with his teammates and his coaches, and they've expressed the same sentiments to us all week long, that this team would not be here right now without Mitch and Darwin Barney.
Well, it'll probably tear him up a little bit inside, but it's something he will remember for the rest of his life, and that makes it worthwhile. Here's Garrett Gore. I don't think they're ready to go yet. Carolina trying to hang in there. They have been in the finals back-to-back years. They are so talented. They have worked so hard to get here, and they have had so many bad things happen to them in the finals the last 2 years. But they were on a mission this year to come back and redeem themselves. Garrett Gore swings and misses. They'll have to throw him out. That's the second out of the inning, and Gerbovac has struck out the first 2 here in the 8th. You can keep up with the College World Series and every other championship sport offered by the NCAA by logging on to ncaasports.com, and you can be updated on all 88 NCAA championships. Gore is gone. We'll go back to the top of the order, and we got a little meeting on the hill, and it looks like Joe Patterson will be coming in, the lefty who we have seen before, who has been so effective. Gerbovac gets a great hand as he leaves with 2 out in the 8th. Back after this. And at 8th, we're back at Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha. The Heels down to their last 4 outs, and they'll have to do it against Joe Patterson, the big lefty who has been so effective. He has appeared in all 5 College World Series games so far, and he'll face the leadoff man Reed Frank.
Huge part of their pitching staff. Back in the regionals, pitched June 1st, June 4th, June 5th. 6 innings, 3 2/3, and 3 innings. 12.2 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned run. He is a workhorse. And against this Carolina team with the great left-handed hitters, he was going to be a key to this series for sure. And they did not start him. 25 appearances this year, 18 starts. But they wanted him out of the bullpen. Pitched yesterday, 2 2/3 innings, 39 pitches. Out there again today.
And look at that 1.17 ERA on the ground at Joey Wong.
Extra quality Beats cable 4-to-1. I just wish I had time to save you from your cable company.
For picture quality that
Now it's time here in Omaha for our Pontiac game-changing performance, and it's Darwin Barney. Got it started at the plate with a 2-run homer his first time up, a line drive to left field, and then made the defensive play of the night with a tremendous relay throw to Mitch Canham that cut down a huge run at the plate. The do-it-all shortstop. Bottom third of the order for Oregon State here in the 9th. A real statement by the Pac-10 again. If there's back-to-back championships for this club, another feather in their cap. USC, of course, 12 national titles. Arizona State, 5. Only 1 coming after they joined the Pac-10. Arizona State with 3. California with 2. Stanford with 2. Oregon State could join the list at 2 in an inning from now. And Mitch Canham enjoying every second of it.
Let's go, babe.
Jonathan Casey, who had a great sprint onto the field last year when Oregon State won the title, looking forward to a repeat. Sanchi takes it down and in. If you're Oregon State, sure you want to score. But really you get the feeling you almost just want to get out of the way and get on to the bottom of the ninth.
Well, if you're up there hitting, of course, you know, as a team you want to score. Sanchi's up here. He's still battling, you know, and it's a philosophy every single pitch. That means keep the concentration there, guys, because we saw what happened last year with the guys across the field when you start thinking about the end result.
Absolutely. Last year, it gave us one of the more touching moments in College World Series. Pat Casey's son, John, made his way down to the field after the final out of the championship game and had a memorable moment with his dad. Great time to share the joy between those two. So Sanchi is on. with the base on balls, and Brandon Wells will go in to run for him. And then you can bet that Wells will go on to play right field. Or Braden Wells, excuse me. And Leonardton stands in with a chance to do some more damage for the Beavers. .310 on the year. The only time he's been on base tonight, reached on an error. But we saw his power last night. Hit a home run to right center that was a bomb. Staring intently down at the third base coaching box to see if something's going on, and he squares to bunt, takes it for a strike. Here's a guy who doesn't have much experience in this department. He sacrificed once this year.
Yeah, I think he was just going to take a pitch from right there, see if he can build a count. You're watching the signs being flashed down there at third, which there have been some cross signals.
With that size and that power, I don't think they have asked him to sacrifice too many times this year.
No, but he did in the 7th inning. He did lay down a bunt.
Yep.
And the pitcher threw it away. So maybe the element of surprise there. But, you know, and I think we've seen that throughout the entire series. Is that regardless if you're a home run hitter or not, if your team needs you to put it down on the ground, you're going to do it.
Which would lead to your point at the beginning of the broadcast that North Carolina has not done it. And that would be the difference in this World Series.
They've continually struggled, and Norrell talked about it. When you get to a higher level, everybody on the field, especially kind of at this level, everybody on the field is a good baseball player. But the difference is execution.
Leonardton crushes one to dead center field. It's out of here off the second wall. Sacrifice this. What a blast. Back-to-back nights, he has just crushed balls. His nickname is Moose, and he's hearing it from the crowd.
Jordan Leonardton just gets a fastball out over the plate, and he's not thinking, hey, this game is over. No, he had single-digit home runs before that swing right there.
He doesn't anymore.
10 home runs look so much better than 9.
And now it's 9-3. You want to check the win probability?
That's going to be up there.
How about 99? I'll bet. Got one right finally. Leckel, good stab at third and throws him out.
Leonardton, a Canadian kid, his nickname is Moose. You watch the moose horns go up, and they're going to rack him. The whole team.
Hopkins will stand in, 1 out, 2 runs home in the 9th. They will have at least a 6-run lead going into the bottom of the 9th inning, and the most improbable of World Series repeaters could be moments away. They lost 6 of 8 position players, 2/3 of their starters, their closer, and most of the rest of the bullpen, and yet here they are. A testament to great young kids, leadership of 2 veterans, great coaching, and a program that has now established itself 2 years in a row as the premier program in college baseball.
And from a part of the country you wouldn't believe, a coach that could have went to Notre Dame might not have been coming back. And a team that has yet to dogpile. They would not dogpile. Mitch Canham would not let them dogpile at the regionals, and he said, we're only going to dogpile one place, guys. That's for the national title.
Screamer down the third baseline. Hopkins really cleared his hips and turned on one and just smoked it for a double. If they hang on, they would be the first team in the history of college baseball to have a losing conference record and still go on to win a national championship. They were 10-14 in the Pac-10. Nobody expected to win here except them, and it was a question of whether they would even get in the 64-team field. All they needed to do was get in, and they have been on a tremendous roll ever since.
And I would think that evidence would be that the selection committee did their job.
Absolutely. And they really earned it. That early season schedule, because of the weather in Oregon, they go on the road so much. They have played so many good teams that almost no matter what their record is on those trips, they build up a lot of RPI points. And that's one of the big factors the committee looks at when they go into that selection process.
You play so many good teams, you know, you're not really concerned about the RPI. Go play so many good teams because you want to put your players against the best out there and kind of really get a good test on where you are. And that did not go unnoticed.
No, and they played very well on those road trips. They didn't play poorly until they got into the conference season, and that's when they went into their slump.
And they played the very first baseball game of this college season, January 25th, a Thursday at Hawaii. Before the regular season started for all other schools, that was the very first game, and they are in the possibly the very last.
That's got, as you know, as a collegiate athlete, that has got to be a tough road trip to make.
Oh yeah,
to Hawaii. I mean, can you imagine?
Well, they went from Hawaii to Georgia to the Coca-Cola Classic in Surprise, Arizona, to the River City Classic in Davis, California, to Sacramento, California, to College Station, Texas.
Got some freaking flyer miles.
They didn't get home to Corvallis till March 8th.
Wong taps it back toward the mound. They'll throw him out at first for the second out of the inning. So Wong is gone to bring up Listman, a runner at third. Glad you could join us for the College World Series. It has been terribly exciting out here for 10 days, and we are closing in on what could be the finish. Oregon State with a 6-run lead in the 9th. They are still batting. North Carolina 3 outs away from failing the second year in a row in the finals. Strike called on Listman. If you're looking ahead, Horton, Ackley, and FEDEROWICZ are set to hit. Excuse me, FEDEROWICZ has been replaced at the catching position. You would expect Benji Johnson to come on. But that's what they'll have, the heart of the lineup, or the heart of the order, coming up in the bottom of the 9th. The 0-2, a high fastball. A ball and 2 strikes to Listman. Pops it up on the infield. Ackley will make the catch, will go to the bottom of the 9th. Last chance for the Heels. They are down 6 with 3 outs to go.
I don't have a 5 boost.